So amazing in Tennessee. Not only did we win, Trump won, MAGA won, Republicans won in this special election in Tennessee. And the poll, he won, the votes are still coming in, but we're well over 50%. And if you follow in this type of election, people don't realize this. This was a landslide victory in Tennessee, a major landslide victory for President Trump, for MAGA. And I was looking at the polls yesterday, right? And in the afternoon, I was looking at the recent polls. Every single poll had it a dead heat. Some polls would have the Republican ahead a little bit, but it was never outside of the margin of error. So all the, I've been telling you guys forever and a day that the polls, don't pay any attention to the polls, okay? The polls are lies. They're nothing but lies. The polls that we see are push polls. The truly scientific polls that give you an accurate idea of what's going to happen are called the internals. Those are always kept confidential. Very rarely will one ever leak out. And any poll that you or I have access to is useless. They're all left-wing push polls. I don't even know if they poll people, right? Do you think they really actually poll people? Do they even have to? Who knows if they do or not? But how could they have every single poll a dead heat if the Republican was ahead, it was within the margin of error, and then come in with a landslide victory? And this is a very, very important election because of the message it sends. Beyond having the Republican House seat, there's some other very important things involving this Tennessee race that I want to talk about here. If you'd like to call in, by the way, the number's toll-free, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. Be patient with me. I've got a new phone set up here in my studio, so be patient with me on the phones, but the number's the same, 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you are listening. So the way I've been telling you guys that Zohan Mamdani won on a fluke, and I just want to review how that fluke happened, because in a couple of weeks, the new year will be here, and we're going to be in the midterm election season, and this is some important stuff that I've got to share with you, and here it is, okay? Mamdani won the primary because they had an incredibly low turnout. No one was paying attention. The general election was won by two things. Part of it was Curtis Sliwa, all right? Curtis Sliwa was a jerk. I hold him responsible for anything that happens with Mamdani, okay? That psychopath. I used to like him and admire him, and he messed things up. But the main factor that led to the Mamdani victory in New York was that the media had convinced everyone that Mamdani was unbeatable. They had these polls out, they had the media, so they had a very, very low voter turnout. We won in Tennessee because we had a turnout. We had a good turnout. We had a sizable turnout. People didn't give up. People didn't let the media convince them, oh, Trump fatigue, MAGA fatigue, this, that, everything else under the book. A new generation, all this crap. We had a great turnout, and not only did we win in Tennessee, it was a massive landslide victory. And that's what, and like I said, all the polls were dead heat. And we ended up with a landslide victory. I know, isn't that something? It's absolutely amazing. So as we get into the midterms next year, the major campaign strategy of the political establishment and the Democrats is going to be unofficial. They're going to have polls that show us losing in the midterms. They're going to have polls that show us within the margin of error. If we're ahead, there's going to be constant news coverage that Well, you know, historically, the party that is in power loses in the midterms and all that stuff. Don't let any of that get you down, all right? Remember, you know, turnout. All of that is meant to depress our turnout. The majority of the American voting public, those who vote are the only ones that matter in elections. Those who don't vote don't matter in elections. They're not participating. But the reality is this. Among the voter base in this country, the majority of this country are conservative. America is a conservative country. That's exactly right. Founded by great Puritans, and we are a conservative nation. More conservative now than we were 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago. We're becoming more and more conservative all the time because of the great work that our perfect president, Donald Trump, is doing every day, which he did a lot of great things yesterday, which I am going to cover on the program. But their main campaign strategy will be to do whatever they can do to convince you that it's hopeless to depress our turnout. And we cannot let that happen, because if we have a high turnout, we win. You know, so when early voting starts, vote early. Don't let anybody convince you not to vote early. That's very important. President Trump in the last election, he said vote early. And the reason that you vote early is very important, guys. You know, if you wait until Election Day, the other side, they vote early. In fact, the Democrats' entire strategy over the last few years has been based around an early vote model. And what that means on Election Day, they're millions of votes ahead of us on Election Day. And we've somehow got to catch up to that. On one day, you can't do it. And one of the reasons that we did so well in the last presidential election is because we had a very good early vote turnout game, and that's what you've got to have. So it's very important. Everything in the midterm elections this next year is about one thing and one thing only. That is turnout. So no matter what, you've got to treat the midterm like it's a presidential election season, because it's that important. It is that important. You see all this good work that President Trump is doing. You know, if the Democrats take back the Congress, even if they just get back the House, they're going to impeach him every week. It's going to be nonstop impeachments. That's going to be everything that they do, and that's just something that we've got to not let happen, and we stop that from happening by having a turnout. So I'm pretty energized, and I hope you are too, about this incredible victory in Tennessee. So let me pull this up. This is from Fox News. Republicans win highly contested battle for vacant GOP House seat. If you're on hold, hang in there. If you'd like to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat, 888-465-2631. All right, 888-465-2631. And again, I have a new phone set up here today, so it might be a little awkward for me, so be patient with me. Republicans will hold on. This is Fox News. Republicans will hold on to a GOP-controlled vacant congressional seat in Ruby Red, Tennessee, after winning a highly contested special election that grabbed plenty of national attention. See, special elections are worse than midterms because turnout historically is low for these things. A lot of people don't even know they're happening unless they really follow the news. Republican nominee Matt Van Epps on Tuesday defeated Democrat rival lunatic Afton Bean. Is that how you say her name? Ben? Well, has been more like it, according to the Associated Press, in the high-stakes race to succeed former GOP rep Mark Green, who resigned from office in June to take a private sector job. See, we're going to have a special election for Marjorie Taylor Greene, too, at the beginning of the year. We need to have a major turnout for that one as well. With the GOP clinging to a razor-thin majority in the House, the special election was seen as a must-win for Republicans, no doubt about it. President Donald Trump carried the 7th Congressional District, which is located in central and western Tennessee, stretches from Kentucky to Alabama, includes parts of Nashville, by 22 points in last year's presidential election. And Green won the district by over 20 points in his 22 and 24 re-elections. But Democrats were energized following the decisive victories in last month's election, New York and Virginia and a couple others. And public opinion surveys, see this? And public opinion surveys suggested a close contest between the two, which we now know were lies. And they say here, this election was seen as a key barometer ahead of next year's midterms. Well, I'm going to agree with that. No doubt about it. Oh, man, this is great stuff. President Trump, remember, this is according to CNN's latest polling, President Trump has an 87% approval rating among Republican voters. It doesn't matter what the other voters think. If the Democrats aren't going to vote for the president anyway. It only matters what Republican voters think, and 87% of Republican voters approve of the job President Trump is doing, which is what he was pulling at 6 months ago. He's holding strong. With some votes, and now they update this as things goes on, with some votes still being counted, Van Epps was headed towards a 9-point victory. So this is not just a landslide victory. This is a massive, overwhelming avalanche landslide victory. A landslide victory is 2-3 points in an election. A lot of people don't realize that. 2-3 points is an overwhelming landslide victory. We're approaching 9 points. That's over the cliff avalanche. I mean, the avalanche is still coming. Boy, oh boy. Asked by Fox News Digital on Tuesday morning if he needed to win the election by a certain margin, Van Epps said, a win is a win, no doubt about that. This idiot loser that hates Nashville and everything about it, she got creamed. This is most definitely a barometer about how energized the American people are behind the Trump agenda, because this election was all about that. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Oh, hey, Mike. What's up? First call with my new phone system here.
You're right. You're right on this, Brian, because think about this. Not only did he get elected, but he has to get reelected in a year or so.
Mm-hmm.
This is a special election, and this 9-point possible victory.
Yeah, he's got to run again in November.
More than likely,
yeah, it's crazy.
Yep. It makes it more than likely he's going to win again in November. And look, people were saying, well, these victories for the Democrats in Virginia and New Jersey and New York City are a bellwether. No, those victories were victories they should have won, and they won.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's no bellwether there, So
absolutely,
again, if this holds up, the guys in New Jersey, all these Republicans that were in New Jersey and stuff ran away from President Trump.
That's right.
Okay, they didn't lean into President Trump the way this guy did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. President Trump is more popular at this a moment in time than he's ever been. And right. I don't think people realize that, because he's not having rallies. The reason he's not having rallies is he's not running for election anymore. And he'll have some rallies when we get into the midterm season. But he's also busy pushing through his great, awesome agenda.
And look, here's the deal, Brian. These guys, we know that Marjorie Taylor Greene has, in her district, has an election. I'm gonna say this: if whoever runs in her district does not lean into President Trump, that person's an idiot.
Yeah, that's right. And Trump was behind Epps, and they spent money there. They and did all kinds of things. So he is a Trump MAGA candidate. And now that he's approaching a 9-point victory, this is really huge.
It really is. And look, we're talking about all this stuff with a slim margin, but again, look at what's happening with all the redistricting and the possible case that's in the Supreme Court now about these race-based districts that probably is going to go our way, meaning race-based districts are gone,
these racist districts where they carve out districts so black people can get elected. That's so out of date. Maybe you could make a case for that right after the civil rights movement, but we're quarter of the way through the 21st century. We've had a black man elected president and re-elected. We don't need any more of these special districts that go through every black neighborhood in an area, to get somebody who's African American elected. That it is hardcore racist against both white and black people, and it's something that's just so far out of date and unneeded these days.
And basically, that Prop 50 in New Orleans and in California is carving out race-based districts.
Indeed.
The thing that, so anyway, I mean, look, this is a big deal. This is a bellwether, and it just proves the point.
It is.
If you lean
it's a bellwether. It's a barometer. It's a checking of the pulse. It's everything. All right, Mike. Take care. All right. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll take a quick break. I'm Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. Oh man, this idiot mayor, they're getting really weird in Minneapolis. I want to cover that in a minute, but I want to remind you guys that this early pre-show is brought to you by Mike Lindell and MyPillow. Please go to MyPillow.com, do your Christmas shopping with my promo code KANE at checkout, K-A-N-E. You'll find great Christmas gifts. You can use my promo code KANE on all the specials. And look at this. The Made in the USA sale. Save up to 50% off top MyPillow products, a money-back guarantee through March 1st of next year. This is amazing. And of course, every time you use my promo code KANE at checkout, you're letting Mike Lindell and MyPillow know that their sponsorship of my program is money well spent. And I told you guys, after the month of December, I'm going to have the big meeting as to whether or not we're going to have a year-long agreement with them for this early pre-show. So please go to mypillow.com and load up. One of our listeners, they left me a message on YouTube that I saw this morning. Let me see if I can find it. I was looking at it just a little while ago. Yeah, Charlene, and she wrote, "My pillow, couldn't sleep without it." Absolutely, I couldn't either. In fact, I take the My Pillows on our cruise. So go to mypillow.com, use my promo code KANE at checkout. Remember, you can use my promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, on all the specials at mypillow.com. All right, so the Somali takeover of Minnesota is insane. This was crazy to me. Did you guys see this? When the Minneapolis mayor started speaking, I guess it's Somalian. Is that their language? Somalian? Listen to this. Are those real words in that language? I mean, they kind of sounded made up. I'm going to pull this clip up because I meant to play this. I played this on my podcast yesterday, and I'm not sure that I can play it on the radio. It was the clip of President Trump talking about Somalians. Hold on, let me find it. In the cabinet meeting yesterday, it was great. Hold on, let me find it. I know I played it on the podcast, so I know I got it here. I got to make sure that the language is radio safe. Okay, yeah, here it is. This was this was amazing. This is one of the biggest mic drop moments I've ever seen by President Trump, and that's saying a lot. This is President Trump this is how he ended the cabinet meeting yesterday. He's talking about the Somalians, and he was taking questions, and of course, all the $1 billion in theft that they've done and everything else, in Tim Walz's Minnesota. Listen to this. Oh. One thing, did you hear that was the cabinet banging on the hear ye. They're banging of support on the cabinet table. Not only is that a great mic drop moment. Yeah, that's radio safe, guys. I can play that on the radio. President Trump knows when to stop speaking, right? He knows when to stop speaking. He's at a high point. He knows it. He could have gone on for another hour, but he's like, this is it. Boom. We're going to end right here. Mic drop. It's time to end. A lot of people that are public speakers, they don't know that, and they just go on. And, I saw that with, I saw Vivek Ramaswamy speaking at Turning Point once, and he did a very good speech, and he had the whole crowd just going nuts. And instead of saying goodbye and walking off stage, he kept going because he just couldn't leave the pool of the crowd. He loved it too much, and he left kind of like, If he would have left when they were going nuts, it would have been the most memorable event of the event, next to President Trump, who was going to speak later in the day. But yeah, he's right. They come here from these third world anarchy pits of hell, and they want to tell us that we should run our country the Somalian way. The only country that has a way is the American way, right? What other country? Have you ever heard, and Vivek Ramaswamy was talking about this, the American way. What's the British way, the Canadian way, the Japanese way, the Somalian way? We're the only country that has a way that I know of, right? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. Doc from Texas. How are you?
All right, Texas. What's on your mind, buddy?
Hey, brother. You doing all right this morning?
I'm always doing well. Trump's in the White House. He's making America great again every day. Yeah. How could I not be
America
great?
America. Okay. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to let you go. Okay. Like, the thing that's going on with the shooting, the double shooting of the boat.
Yeah.
That poor general, Trump and P. Hesek about to throw him under the bus so bad right now. I hope he got a good lawyer, because he's about to go get court martial.
For what? Who's going to get court martial?
Brian.
Who's getting court martial? Who's getting court martial?
I can't remember the guy's name, Brian.
Who? Well, reference him. Who are you talking about?
I think he's a lieutenant colonel. I can't remember his exact rank.
You talking about the admiral?
The admiral. Okay.
Oh, what about the fighter pilot that fired the shots? Are they going to go to prison for murder?
I hope not, because...
Well, wait a minute. They're the ones that actually did it. If the admiral that ordered the attack... But
they had orders
but
to do
I
it.
thought
They
you.
had orders.
But I thought you weren't supposed to follow unlawful orders. So you want the fighter pilot to go to prison for murder?
Brian, the Admiral is going to go to jail. Going to go to prison.
Well,
What
but
I'm
he
saying
did. But
is-
he gave the order. But the fighter pilot fired the rockets. So you want the admiral to go to prison? You want the pilot to go to prison?
First of all,
Pete Hegseth to go to prison?
First of all, Pete Hegseth is not going to prison. That poor colonel, that poor admiral is going to go to prison because Trump and Pete Hegseth going to throw him under the bus. He's done. He's done.
Well, what about the pilot that fired the missiles, that fired the rockets?
Poor baby. He's just following orders. He's just following orders.
Should they go to prison? Well, that's what they said in Nuremberg. Should they go to prison? Should he go to prison too?
I hate to say this, but he following orders.
Oh, okay. So the fighter pilot. What if the fighter pilot's a black lesbian?
Damage.
What if the fighter pilot is a black lesbian transgender naval aviator? Should they still go to prison?
What the fuck that got to do with anything?
What is
Brian?
wrong with your? Why'd you drop the F-bomb?
Because something is not physically wrong with you, and I hate to cuss like that. But somebody always told me people like you make people cuss because y'all don't understand nothing.
Double negative, which means I understand everything. On that point of agreement, we'll move on. Yeah. Oh, boy. What was that about? Why all of a sudden the language? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Richie.
Oh, my goodness.
Not for nothing. This fool from Texas, along with the rest of them, with all these Democrats. Let me say something to you. When there's, in other words, the order goes out, destroy the drug boat. It means destroy the drug boat. It doesn't pieces, splinters. Who cares? Bottom line is, no, they just hate Trump so much. Let's just hang Trump. Forget about the fact that they got barrels of fentanyl in their boats with six engines. These people are deranged. They're so sick. You just hear it in the press conference yesterday when the questions that they asked the president. I mean, it's amazing how they avoid anything good and they go right to the negativity because they want to attack.
Yeah.
They hate his guts and they hate us. And they're just crap.
Well, the last caller, he wants the admiral to go to prison and the fighter pilot.
Yeah, that's another one. No, what about the drug? What about the guy? Oh, because we put to rest this person that wanted to kill a lot of American people with his drugs. I mean, these people are deranged, man. All of a sudden, they're taking the position of protecting.
Well, Richie, in all seriousness, I'd reference this. A little. By the way, my new phone setup seems to be working. You're the third call on it. No problem. Yesterday I referenced this a few times. I'm really starting to believe that the deep state is behind the entire cartels because the Democrats and the deep state are spending too much political capital defending the drug cartels from annihilation. It's bizarre. So they got to be. That's got to be their major funding source. It probably started back in the '80s during all the, the Iran-Contra and the Sandinistas and all that.
You know where the CIA panic is that I'm listening to a lot what's going on. A lot of this is not just the drugs. We're going to find out something major that they're panicking about how they fixed the election from down there. Not for nothing, but the servers that they serve, they're going to find the servers.
Are you talking about in Venezuela?
In Venezuela.
Well,
yes,
we all know
and
that. That's the least of the things. What I'm looking forward to, and I think this, President Trump there's going to be land operations any moment in Venezuela, according to President Trump. When we take him out and the president has Pete Hegseth will be there, and they'll start showing us the entire drug cartel infrastructure, right? I mean, it's a like in America, you got these factory towns, That's what they got. That's what it is factory. There. Exactly. It's a factory. It's a factory continent. But that's exactly. And I'm really looking forward to seeing that.
Well, guess what? That happens to be their source of income. The towns that they have, that's all they work. That's what they work. They go to work. They're not miners or anything like that. They're drug dealers and drug sellers and chemical plants. And the other thing is that the mayor. I'm going to say this. The Somali thing.
Oh, the white Somali speaking mayor. I mean, my goodness.
Yeah, that soy boy, that 30-year-old, whatever the hell he is, because they voted him in, and he has they're wonderful people. I saw that, I forgot his name, the reporter, independent kid, that goes up the mic. He went around Somalia, and they're all around the place. They're all on welfare. Nobody's working. They're a bunch of, and they don't speak English, and all they do is they vote all these people in. They took over Europe, man, and people better open up their eyes in this country. This is a purposeful thing. They're trying to invade us.
The thing about the Somalians, I mean, let's be honest here. I mean, it's not even a third world country. It's an uncivilized country. Anarchy isn't even. It's really almost like prehistoric over there. And they come over here and they don't view themselves. They don't even know they're doing crime. Okay, this is just how you live life.
Listen,
they're an uncivilized, uncultured, prehistoric. It's like cavemen in Somalia.
Let me say this to all the Jew haters out there. Every Jew hater out there. Okay, yesterday, Mr. and Mrs. Dell, who are Jewish,
yes,
gave every child in this country $250. 25 million are going to get $250 from them. And that's only the beginning. And then, and this is a gift. And yet Jews are bad. The Somalis, that Omar, the Jews are no good. Jews are no good. I mean, these people are deranged.
Oh, yeah.
You know, not for nothing. The Jewish religion are very giving.
Well, Richie, I got to run. We're up on the top, so the radio show starts soon. But we'll talk soon. All right, take care. If you're on hold, stand by. If you're new to the program, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. The radio show is about to begin. I'm going to do a quick break. We'll be right back. All right, we've got about 90 seconds till the radio show starts, so I'm going to recap a little bit of what I talked about in Tennessee when I opened up on the radio. For those that missed the early pre-show, and guys, if you could do me a favor, if you're new, please subscribe, and everyone, like the video if you don't mind, and if you could take the link, especially for the mainstream, if you could take the link and share it to your socials, that would be wonderful. We got about a minute till we'll be live on the radio. You know, I don't have a marketing budget like, Ben Shapiro and these guys do. So you guys are my marketing team, and there's no better way for you to be a part of my marketing team than by subscribing, liking the video, and taking the link and sharing it on all your socials and telling all your friends about the program and growing the community. That helps a lot, guys. and it's greatly appreciated. This is the most pro-Trump program in existence, and I say that with pride. I will never disagree nor criticize President Trump. Not that he's done anything that I disagree with or want to criticize and holding back on. I think he's doing a perfect job. All right, we got about less than 30 seconds. Well, welcome, Chris, new subscriber. Thank you so much. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. Holy smokes. All right, boy, we got a lot to cover. President Trump did amazing things yesterday, but I want to first talk about this incredible victory in Tennessee. Not only did the Republican beat this liberal woke lunatic, but big. As of, the votes are still being counted. Okay, I'm sure they shut down for the night. But not only did Van Epps, the MAGA Republican backed by our favorite and greatest President Donald Trump, win, he won by over 8 points. He's approaching a 9-point victory. This is beyond landslide. This is a swamping of the victory. A landslide victory, because people don't know what defines a landslide victory. A victory over 1 point. Like if you're at 52, 51 and a half of the electorate, you've won a landslide victory. Okay? And now that we're approaching 9 points, I don't even know what word. An avalanche? I don't know. This is beyond landslide. This was a tsunami of a victory. I don't know what word, what phrase, what term would be appropriate, but this was a massive, overwhelming swamping of a victory. And this is so important. This is a special election. We got another coming up with Marjorie Taylor Greene after the first of the year, a special election in Georgia. And we won this election because our people turned out to vote. That's it. This is a conservative country. Most everyone who votes is a conservative in the United States. They had these victories, Mom Donnie in New York and Virginia. They had these victories in these blue areas, but this is such an important point to make. So you're going to hear me make this point a lot over the next whole year as we're in the midterm election season, okay? Because this is so important. Turnout. The media is responsible for Mamdani's victory in the general election, and Curtis Sliwa. And this is a very important point. I'll be telling this a lot because it's so important. Mamdani won because of two things. One, that idiot, narcissistic lunatic that I used to admire, used to respect, used to look up to, Curtis Sliwa, took some of the vote. That's part of it. Split the opposition. But that was a major factor. And without that, Mamdani may not be mayor today. But the main factor beyond that was the media. The media had convinced everyone that Mamdani couldn't be beaten, so they had a very low turnout. And the people that turned out were his radical lunatic friends of Antifa and things like that. So in this Tennessee special election, what that shows you is when we have a major turnout, we win. The reason that there's all this over-analyzing, all these analysts, they don't know what the heck they're talking about. The reason that, now there are exceptions to this, things happen and, there's events and such. But the midterm elections, you've heard, historically the party in power loses the midterms. That is very true. But the main reason, except with some exceptions, but the main reason the party in power loses the midterms is because they don't get a turnout. They don't mobilize a turnout like it's a presidential election season. And if we were to treat the midterms like the presidential election season, Republicans would win almost, if not every time. We only lose when we don't have a massive turnout. So the main Democrat and never-Trumper campaign strategy in the midterms isn't going to be the seditious six and all this stuff. Their main election strategy is an unspoken strategy, and it's going to be this: depress the turnout. Convince them, repeat every 5 minutes that the party in power loses the midterms, depress the turnout. If we don't have a massive, overwhelming swamping of a turnout, we will lose the midterms. And in Tennessee, yesterday afternoon, I was looking at the latest polls out of Tennessee. Every poll had it a dead heat. Every poll had it a dead heat. If Epps was up in the poll, it was well within the margin of error. The polls are lies. Don't believe the polls. The polls are meant to depress Republican turnout. How could the polls be right? If all the polls in Tennessee had this as a toss-up, how is he ahead by almost 9 points as votes are still being counted? Epps. Van Epps, sorry. Even with a name like Epps, right? Not a great name to have if you're a Republican, is it? Van Epps. And it was the turnout in this special election that gave us this MAGA victory for President Trump and us in the MAGA movement. So we've got to do the same in the midterm. Wear your MAGA hats every day that you can, everywhere that you can. Get all your friends, get all your family to turn out and vote. If they have early voting where you're at, go out and vote. This goes for the primaries too. We need to have a massive turnout in the primaries so we get the right candidates nominated. But in the main election in November, we need to have a turnout like it's a presidential election, because this midterm election is as important as the presidential election. If the Democrats take back the House, they're going to impeach President Trump every week or two. That's all they're going to do. Okay? That's exactly right. And we don't want that, do we? I mean, President Trump has a major agenda he's got to get through, and he's doing incredible things. We have so much to cover on the program. If you're on hold, stand by. If you would like to call in, the number is toll-free, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you are listening. You know, this is amazing because to win, midterm turnout is low, special election turnout's minuscule, and still we pulled it through. Early voting's key, guys. President Trump even says so. The Democrat Party, the DNC, their entire campaigning isn't based around rallies and such. It's the early vote. And if you don't vote early, and we try to get everybody out on election day, right? The Democrats are millions of votes ahead, and we're trying to not only catch up, but beat them in one day. It's difficult. So when there is early voting available, go out and vote early. I want to talk about Friendly Tire in Margate. Friendly Tire. I've been a customer at Friendly Tire, 15 years, 20 years, a long time. And I found Friendly Tire in Margate out of necessity when I had a big four-wheel drive with the oversized tires on a Jeep Wrangler. And the new and used tires are just so affordable. There's no reason to be driving around on bald tires. And, Friendly Mike can get all the name brands you know and love, and he can get tires for any type of vehicle as well, okay? And at incredibly low prices, lowest prices anywhere. New tires, out the door and on the road, as low as $75 a tire. And that's on common-sized tires that are on some of the most popular and common cars on the road today. And when I say out the door and on the road, remember, Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire does not charge you to mount the tire, balance the tire, or dispose of your old tire. So new tires, out the door and on the road, as low as $75 a tire. Used tires, he has good used tires in stock too. Used tires, these are very good used tires. Can't even tell they're used half the time. At Friendly Tire, used tires out the door and on the road as low as $35 a tire. And again, that's also out the door. As low as $35 a tire for used tires. These are very high quality, good used tires. Out the door and on the road, because with the used, he doesn't charge you to mount, balance, or dispose of your old tires either. So give him a call. He will give you a price right over the phone. 954-977-9445. He's also open on Saturday, guys. We have listeners that drive an hour each direction to get, because the deals are so good. We have listeners in other states that are vacationing in Florida that not only get new tires, they get a second set to take back to Connecticut or New York, wherever they're from, to keep in the garage. Some of our cruise people, they drive to Florida to go on the cruises with us. They get tires while they're here. Give Friendly Mike a call, 954-977-9445. He does tire repairs as well. 954-977-9445, 954-977-9445. For Friendly Tire in Margate, we'll be right back. Oh, man, this is great stuff. I mean, what a great day. What a great day. I mean, this is as good as it gets. This is the greatest president. We'll never have a president even close to this. And he's the first president of any of our lifetimes who every single thing he has done is for America and the American people. Everything. Right? You haven't heard about Iran in a while, have you? Because he's taking care of all that. All right, so we got to start going through this stuff here. Oh, yes. Oh, boy. Things are really happening, guys. Okay. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, everyone. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll get to some calls in a bit. I have so much to cover here. I don't even know how that is possible. Oh. Okay. Okay. We'll be back shortly, guys. I'm going to take a quick break. If you're watching with the green wall behind me, you go to my mainstream, you can see and hear all the video, okay? And the link to the mainstream's in the description. Yeah, all right. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll go to the phones when we get back. Oh, man. Isn't it? Which term do you think is the most fun? The first or the second term of Trump? You could just put one or two in the chat. They're both good and fun, but this one's the best. I mean, it's like 23 hours a day of work for this president. You know, the White House logs show that the president's been working in the Oval Office 12 hours a day. That's just in the Oval, 12 hours a day. And they released that information because they were saying on the left that, he's not as busy and all this stuff, and he's winding down 12 hours a day just in the Oval. We got about a minute, and we'll be back. Yeah, the second one. I mean, this is just, it's perfection. And I'm really interested to see what happens with Miranda Devine, because she's gotten so much heat for that column on Bongino and Kash Patel. And Bongino gave her a nickname, Deep State Divine. And things are really turning on her. And I've always been a big fan of hers. I know you guys have too. All right, we got about 30 seconds or so. Oh, he won huge. Yeah, that's what we've been talking about, Brent. Call is on hold. Hang in there. Yeah, I agree. The second term, it's just perfect. Less than 30 seconds, people. Less than 30 seconds. Oh, man. This is exciting. Mm-hmm. We're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. We're celebrating this great Trump MAGA victory in Tennessee, approaching a 9-point victory at the recent count. Very exciting. All right, back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Howard, and I want to thank you for everything you do. I listen to your program practically every day. And thanks to you, I did the heart scan, and I went to Friendly Mike, beautiful guy. I bought tires from him.
Awesome.
He's the best. He's the best. When I called the last time, inadvertently, I used the wrong word, and you jumped on me.
That happens.
I'm sorry.
That happens.
I want to compliment you on everything you do. I've been a Trump supporter since 2016, and he's the best. He's the greatest.
He is.
Best president.
He is, isn't
yes.
he? He is. Who was the
yes,
first? Who was
is.
the first president you voted for?
Well, coming from New York, I wasn't really into politics. I'm a retired mailman, and I went along with everything my union voted for. I never really, being a New Yorker, and I never really, after making bad choices, going along with what the union wanted. When I came down to Florida in 2000, I've been here since 2000. I'm 82 years old.
Oh my goodness!
And I've been through a lot lately with surgeries, and I had a hernia surgery. But I don't want to go into and I really wanted to go on a cruise, but this feeling in my stomach right now with the pressure after going through open surgery with a mesh. It's prevented me from making that decision. And like I said, I compliment you on everything you do. You're an educator, and I learn from what you talk about. And I thank you.
Well, thank you. Appreciate your kind word. I'm so used to hearing nastiness on the phones. It's I almost don't know how to speak to someone who's giving me compliments.
Okay, I'm sorry to hear that. And being that I listen to your program and you pick up the phone, whoever calls you, and some of these people are very rude to you.
Yes.
And I don't blame. Yeah, and they're nasty. And I really, and they repeat phone calls, and I can't understand why you pick it up, but you have to give them a chance to talk.
That's right. That's what makes us different. Well, listen, I appreciate all the compliments, and thanks for using our sponsors, and hope you feel better.
Thank you so much. I did use the heart scan, and now I'm on some medication. I didn't do the body scan.
What'd you find? What'd you find in the heart?
Yeah, they said, I have a fast heartbeat. And they have to put me on some Metropolo, and now I'm going to go on another to lower my heartbeat.
Oh, okay.
I live with AFib. I live with AFib for a long time.
Well, listen, I got to run, but thanks so much, and have a good day.
Yeah, be well. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, take care, take care. You know, he had the heart scan at Life Imaging FLA that I talk about, and look, they found something. And now he's medicated, and he's doing better. You know, Life Imaging FLA, call right now for your free heart scan with just a few minimum requirements, valued at $699. From your cell, call pound 250 and say the keyword free heart scan. You will be connected in seconds. That's pound 250, just say free heart scan. You'll be connected in seconds, pound 250, and say free heart scan. All right. So let me get back to this. Did you guys see the cabinet meeting yesterday? Oh, man. The cabinet meeting was, as always, beautiful. So I guess it was the last cabinet meeting for this year, since we're in the month of December. And President Trump, you know, he takes questions at the end. And I love how these cabinet meetings go on. They go on for like 3 hours. Each member of the cabinet reports to President Trump right around the table. They tell him what they've done, what they're working on, and what they're going to do. And then each one does that. We've never seen anything like this ever in the history of the presidency. No president has done this. And then they take questions, not just him, but the cabinet. It's beautiful. I love it. It's like must-see TV. And President Trump, they were asking about the Tim Walz Somalia scandal, right? Stealing $1 billion and all this stuff. And President Trump, at the mic drop moment in the press conference, this is the president. Oh, I just lost it. I had it all queued up and I hit the wrong button with my mouse. Son of a gun. How did I do that? I'm going to have to pull it up in a second here. Hold on. I'll pull it up again because I'll play it before we break. But he did this incredible mic drop at the end of the cabinet meeting. Yeah, here it is. Okay. And, you know, and he wasn't done. When he started, okay, hold on. When he started talking, he wasn't planning on this being the end of the press conference, but the moment was so good. It was such a high point. President Trump knows when to end things, right? Listen to this. This is the president at the very end of yesterday's cabinet meeting. They're talking about the Somalian thieves with Tim Walz in Minnesota. Okay, now that banging that you're hearing, and you're hearing some of the fine White House china, that is the cabinet banging on the table. Hear ye, in agreement. And he's right. You know, Vivek Ramaswamy the other day was talking. He says the United States, you know, the American way. He said the United States is the only country that has a way, the American way. What's the Somalian way, the Canadian way, the Mexican way, right? Any country. We're the only ones that have a way, the American way. And he's exactly right. You know, Somalia, it's worse than third world. It's not third world, and it's not even an anarchy. They live like in prehistoric times. They really do. It is an uncivilized place. It's tribal. It's run by tribal chieftains and warlords. When I say prehistoric, I mean that. And history goes back before Christ. They live like the Stone Age over there. It's not a civilized place. And then they come here from a place that is prehistoric and completely uncivilized. And then they say, we want you in America to run things like we do in Somalia? Are you kidding me? President Trump is always right, isn't he? And he was never. I love how he knows when to end, right? They weren't even close to being done, and he's like, "No, this is so good. No, this is the high point. Boom, we're out of here." Mic drop. All right, we're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. My name is Brian Craig. Back after this. All right, if you're on hold, stand by, guys. Take a quick break. All right, we'll be back on the radio in less than a minute. If you're on hold, stand by. Oh, man, isn't it nice? Isn't it nice just to be winning all the time? Isn't it? I love it. I mean, this is what it's about. You know? Every single day is a day of winning. All right. All right, we've got about 20 seconds. We'll be back. you want to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat. The new phone setup is working good so far. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Okay, so I want to talk about the president's big announcement yesterday. It was not the announcement we were expecting, the 2 o'clock event. You know, I think most of us expected it to have something to do with the cartels in Venezuela or shutting down the border. And what he had the Dells there, and they're donating over $6 billion to these Trump accounts for children. And it was an absolutely amazing event. It was not what was expected. And when he first came on, you know, I was like, oh, okay, you know. But then I realized it was so exciting. Because they all spoke, and Ted Cruz came up and spoke, and some others. And Ted Cruz, when he spoke, he put it in such a great way. These Trump accounts that President Trump announced yesterday with the over $6 billion in donations from the Dells, that money is going to be invested in the stock market. And you can donate money to your child or your grandchild throughout their life. And when these kids get out of high school, they don't have to cash out the accounts when they get out of high school and turn 18. They can keep them for maybe ever, I don't know. But this money, since they'll be able to look at their account and see how it's performing and what it's invested in. And Ted Cruz said these kids, and this is true, they're going to be on the playground in 5th grade, 4th grade, 3rd grade, high school. They're going to be on the playground. And they're going to own $75 of McDonald's stock, $20 of Apple, $100 of General Motors, whatever it is. And they're going to see, and this is one of the reasons, this Trump account event yesterday may be what Trump is most remembered for in the decades to come, because this is going to be the new way, like Social Security. In 100 years, 200 years, people will have their Trump accounts for their children. So they're going to be on the playground, and they're going to see their stocks, where the money's invested, and how it's performing. And they're going to have an investment in these different companies, American companies. And children are going to see the difference in the stock performance when there's a Republican president and when there's a Democrat president. Think about that. You know, our public education system from pre-K, Bill Clinton's pre-kindergarten, all the way through graduate school, are a bunch of green-haired, blue-haired, lunatic, Antifa, fascist communists who have been brainwashing America's children to be communist. But now they're going to be capitalist, because all of them are going to have an investment in the stock market, in great companies. You know, and this wave that the Democrats are transitioning to, they call it democratic socialism. Mamdani, Bernie Sanders, AOC, but it's really communism. We know that, right? It's democratic socialism. It's communism. They just don't call it that. This is the end of that wave. And President Trump, they set this up where these accounts are going to be active on the 4th of July next year, the 5th of July, because the 4th is a holiday, the day after our 250th national birthday. And also in the summertime, spring or summer, we're going to get our $2,000 each. And do you think that's a coincidence? Why do you think President Trump has these accounts going active 4th of July next year? And we're getting our $2,000 next summer too. Why do you think that is? $2,000 each, $4,000 for my wife and I'm. Very excited. You know why? Because it's the election year, right? So here we are in the summer before the most important midterm elections of any of our lifetimes, arguably maybe even in our nation's history. Every American taxpayer is going to get $2,000, and all the kids are going to get their Trump accounts, courtesy of the Dell family. You can take that $2,000, put it in your kid's account. Think about that. So are the Democrats as we go into the midterms? How are they going to... They don't think any of these things should be happening. And these Trump accounts, which is what they will be identified forever, that's why it's going to be a big legacy for Trump, because they're going to be calling them Trump accounts in 100 years. But, yeah, I know. It's amazing what he's doing. So this new generation coming up are going to be capitalist. Capitalist. They're all going to be invested in the stock market. They're going to have a vested interest in the financial success of America. See, what the left have been doing is telling them to live off of the dole, live off the government, live off of Section 8 and SNAP and all these things. Get your student loans, go to college for 8 years and all that stuff. Right? But that's not going to be the way of it anymore. It is one of the most brilliant things that any president has ever done to change a terrible mindset that's been polluting our education system, and that's this democratic socialism, communism. The next generation, whatever the generation of these aged children is, I don't know what they're calling it. We just hit Z. Are they going to start over? Gen A? I don't know. They are capitalist. It's a generation of capitalists. They're going to graduate school, college, turn 30, get married, have enough money not only to buy a home, but to pay cash for it. Think about that. Pay cash for their first home. The American dream will be achieved on day one if they do that, right? Absolutely. Owning your own house free and clear from the bank. This is a beautiful time. And when I saw that yesterday, at first I was like, oh, this isn't what I was expecting. And then as I was listening to it, I was like, well, this is the most amazing thing. And I remember when I was a kid, I had this jar where I collected change around the house. And I remember I had enough. My grandpa took me to the bank and I opened up a bank account with all the change. And even guys, we used to do that as kids. Okay, they got out of that now. Everything's so digital. Nothing's ever been done like this before. And when we get into July and these accounts go active and we all get our $2,000 each, $4,000 for married couples, and some households are going to get $10,000 depending on if adults are in the house. What are the Democrats? How's that going to affect the midterm elections? It's going to have a very good effect, right? It's going to drive people right towards Trump because the Democrats are telling you this is about, Republicans, for as long as I can remember, have been talking about privatizing Social Security, 1-2% of it. And that was always a controversial thing. This is separate from that. They've given up on that and came up with this great new idea. And, Ted Cruz and others have been talking about this thing for a long time. No one could make it happen until Trump. And when people realize that each one of their children are going to be able to pay for their own college or buy a house with cash by the time they graduate high school, they're going to say, wow, these Republicans are amazing. And when you're think about this generation, when they're in college, where they really radicalize into liberalism, college students, when they're all invested in America through the stock market and the ownership of these different companies, what's that going to do to them? Of course they're going to be Republican. Of course they're not going to be Democrat, because the Democrats, they'll be able to see their stock portfolio and their Trump account performs well with Republicans in office, and it tanks when Democrats are in office because of their policies. It's a great move for the future of the country. It's one of the greatest educational platforms or agenda any president has ever had, educating them in the American way of capitalism. But it's also winning them over to be Republicans. Boom, like that. Now, I want to talk about our real estate guy, George Colony. Oh, man. I was talking to George the other day. To those of you out there that are renters, if a lot of people, they'll call me sometimes and say, I can't afford to buy. That's not true. If you're a renter and you want to be a homeowner, call George Colony. He can turn you from a renter into an owner, and you'll be paying less than what you're paying in rent, and you'll own something. Give him a call. If you're looking to buy or sell, give him a call. If you're looking to move to Florida, call George Colony. All right, here's his number. If you're looking to move within the area, if you're looking to list your home, or you just want to find out the true value of your home in this Florida real estate market, call George Colony. This number rings directly to George's cell phone. You can call or text 954-801-7320. 954-801-7320. Those of you that are condo owners who think you're stuck in a condo because the market turned against condos, no, call George Colony. Condos are back. So many people are moving to Florida now. Condos are back, and if you want to get top dollar for your condo, call George Colony. Or maybe you want to get a good deal and buy a condo, call George Colony. 954-801-7320. 954-801-7320. Again, that rings directly to George Colony's cell phone, so you can call or text. If you're on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian Craig. Back after this. No, this is a wonderful thing that he's doing, President Trump, turning a generation of Americans into capitalists. We'll be right back. All right, we will be back in about 90 seconds on the radio. And guys, if you'd like to support my channel, become a Patreon supporter. If you want to support my content, if you're a Patreon supporter, you get access to commercial-free editions of my podcast, exclusive live streams that I do only on the Patreon platform. There's no trolls in those live chats, by the way. The most recent live stream is up there right now. If you become a Patreon supporter, you can take a look at that. And you get a lot of exclusive things that my wife and I post there that we post nowhere else. There's a link to my Patreon page in the description, or you can go directly to patreon.com/Real Brian Craig Show. All right. Okay. We got less than a minute, and we'll be back. We'll be back shortly. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. We're celebrating this great MAGA Trump Republican victory in the special election in Tennessee. With what President Trump is doing on immigration is amazing. And for the very first time in this country, we're getting a real honest discussion about immigration. And the Somalians in Minnesota, Tim Walz's Somalians that stole $1 billion with a B, who are very defiant. They're like, how dare you even call us out on this? This has opened up the first honest discussion about this wave of foreigners that have been colonizing the United States. Let me play this again. This is the president at the end of the cabinet meeting yesterday. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, that banging is the cabinet doing the hear ye, banging on the table of support for the president. So then they're getting very defiant in Minneapolis and everywhere. This weirdo mayor who looks like he's about 30. First time I saw this guy was after that god-awful shooting of the Christian kids inside the church at that school weeks ago. And he was the one that stopped to do his hair before he went to the scene. He's a real sicko. And he was standing up with these Somalians who have this, how dare you call us out on stealing this $1 billion. And he did something I've never seen happen before. This is the Minneapolis Democrat mayor. Is he a democratic socialist? Terrorizing. ICE deporting illegals or federal agents arresting thieves that have stole $1 billion. That's what he calls terrorizing. The good guys are the criminals, is what he's telling us. But listen to what he does. Listen to this. Yeah, so they say that he was speaking Somalian. Those words sounded like made-up words to me, but there was a Somalian city councilman behind him who was nodding in agreement to whatever it was he was saying. But this is, what's going on in this country is not immigration, it's invasion and colonization. And what President Trump said is so spot on and right on the money. This is the first honest discussion on this wave of immigration this country has ever had. They come here from these anarchies and uncivilized places and want to turn this country into what the one they fled from was like. This guy here is a Somalian who is a local city councilman in Minneapolis. And of course, this press conference was called with the Minneapolis mayor speaking Somalian. First time I've heard that. I've heard politicians speak Spanish, even heard them speak Portuguese once or twice, but I've never heard one speak Somalian before. This guy here, they had this press conference because of the Tim Walz $1 billion Somalian theft scandal. And they're sending ICE to start rounding people up. And this is a local city councilman who's Somalian. Listen to this guy. And I'm going to tell you, this guy, he's been here, he said 26 years. How old is he? He looks like he's 26 years old. He's lived his entire life in this country, almost all of it, if not all of it, right? His English is so poor. He's using the wrong words and all this stuff. He lives in a Somalian world. See, this is the problem with not becoming Americanized. He's, whatever the Somalian way is what he's bringing. See? Why would you be fearful unless you're here illegally or you're one of those guys that stole the $1 billion? We're not going to let us divide that. See, this guy's lived his whole life in Minnesota, and he doesn't speak proper English. We know Minneapolis will not abandon. Spent his whole life in the United States.
One of the things I want to say, obviously, everyone knows that our president is racist.
You hear that? How dare he? This country welcomed his family. His whole community's thieving from us $1 billion, and he dares to call our president a racist? He says everybody knows that. No, he's not. I don't know that. Do you know that? No. Give me an example of his racism. Deporting people that are here illegally? Arresting thieves? How's that racist? Wow, he just welcomed Mamdani at the Oval Office the other day. Wow, a lot of nerve. See? Listen to this. Oh my goodness. I guess city is city in English and Somalian. So Minneapolis has fallen. But this attitude, they got caught stealing $1 billion. And hear the attitude? How dare you to call us out on stealing this $1 billion? You are a racist. You're a xenophobe, a thisophobe, a thatophobe. You're anti-this, you're anti-that. How dare you call us out on stealing $1 billion? Who do you think you are calling us out on stealing $1 billion? If you're on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian Craig. Our number is toll-free, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. We'll take our top of the hour break and be right back after this. All right. Oh, yes. Okay, stand by. Okay. Well, I'm just getting my commercials ready for the next hour. We got about 1 minute. We'll be back, guys. Less than 30 seconds. All right, the second hour, the 7 o'clock hour has begun. My name is Brian. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Calls on hold, stand by. So this $1 billion Somalian theft, you know, you got to ask yourself, this wave of immigrants, what is the positive benefit they're bringing to our country? Drugs, murder, rape, thievery? And Tim Walz is in a panic attack over this. He was at some event in it looks like a kitchen somewhere, and he was asked about the $1 billion under his nose. And listen to what he does. He goes into this virtue signaling rant. Oh. Yeah, he dealt with George Floyd. Remember his wife said how she enjoyed the smell of the burning tires and all of that? Remember that? He's doing all this virtue signaling. Does he seem nervous to you? And so far as withholding federal funds, they stole $1 billion in federal funds. And the only way they can get them to cooperate with the investigation is to withhold future federal funds. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Oh, hey, Doug.
You know, the first thing I want to tell you is you were the first and one of the only ones I ever heard saying that that the Democrats would like to prosecute President Trump and everybody around him.
Yeah.
And that miserable Akeem. Yesterday I heard saying exactly that.
Yeah.
That, if we get power, we'll bring everybody.
That's their plan.
We better make sure. We better make sure we keep them out of office, man. And I was saying in Tennessee, I said, well, how could it be possible that guy's going to lose in Tennessee when Trump won it so big? And sure enough, that was just a lying media.
Not only did he win,
again,
he won by almost 9 points at the latest count. They're still counting in a special election.
Yeah.
I mean, this is beyond landslide victory. It's not even close, even though every poll had it a dead heat.
Yeah, this media and the polls, man, you can't listen to them anymore. It's sad. It's too bad we can't get any truth. There's no more truth in America anymore. I mean, we say it, but the other side is just, we lie and keep going and hopefully throw something on the wall, hopefully it sticks.
Exactly.
Terrible.
Exactly. All right, take care. Now, yesterday, did you guys see I've never watched one of these before, at least not for a long time, unless there was been like a war going on. But I happened to catch live yesterday the Pentagon press conference, and Pete Hegseth has his own Caroline Leavitt over there. I don't know the girl's name. She's very good. She's like 26 years old, 25. She's Steve Cortez's daughter. And they did this huge revamping of the Pentagon press corps. It was an incredible press conference. And until recently, Pete Hegseth found this out and was appalled, and he put a stop to it. Members of the media could travel wherever they wanted to go in the Pentagon, where all the military is located. They could go into classified areas. Nobody stopped them, and it's been like this forever. So you know the Pentagon media is filled with Russian spies, Chinese spies, and who knows who else, right? And a lot of the mainstream media are boycotting the Pentagon press room now and won't send anyone there because they don't have free reign over all these classified areas. So I'm watching this press conference, and I'm looking at the people that are in there, the new press. Did you see this? Matt Gaetz, James O'Keefe, Laura Loomer, and Jack Posobiec. And there are probably a couple of others. And we've got this whole new MAGA press corps at the Pentagon, and it was amazing because, you know, we're about to have a mainstream war again. Well, hopefully it won't be long. You never know, though, with these wars. Anytime they predict a war will be over in a couple of weeks, it lasts for years. But we're about to go to war with Venezuela and the cartels very openly with a ground war. And the Pentagon is going to be the center of press activity. And we have James O'Keefe and these others in there, Jack Basso. It's going to be great. I cannot wait for those press conferences when the war heats up. But anyway, the reason I bring this up, if there's any other Pentagon press conferences, you don't want to miss them. This Steve Cortez's daughter is very, very good. I don't know where she went to school or learned her trade. Caroline Levitt either. I mean, you know, both of them are under 30, and they're the best press secretaries I've ever seen handling the press. But they're all over Pete Hegseth for months over that Signal chat where somebody let that scumbag reporter in there, and they were talking about secrets being too loose, and you know they're not keeping things secret enough. Here we have Pete Hegseth has stopped reporters from being able to wander into classified areas in the Pentagon, and then they boycott the Pentagon over this. So do you want him to keep the secret secret or not? And when he does, when he clamps down on security, which they were calling on him to do, all of a sudden they storm out. But this new Pentagon press corps, we're going to get some incredible coverage of the war against the cartels. So this $1 billion Somalian theft in Minnesota has just opened up a can of worms that the Democrats are really not prepared to deal with. And the Somalian leader in America is Ilhan Omar. And she got questioned. She's not looking, so usually she got questioned in the halls of Congress yesterday by a reporter that Laura Loomer sent out. And usually Ilhan Omar, when I see real news like this person go up to her, right? Non-fake news, real news, go up to her and ask her questions walking through the halls of Congress or down the street. She always has a lot of snarky attitude. She's always very condescending and all of that. This time, it's a totally different Ilhan Omar. She is not happy. She looks and sounds miserable. She's not snarky. She's not making jokes. She's not laughing. She's not sipping on her Starbucks. She's trying to escape. Listen to this. This is yesterday. Oh my goodness. She's losing her cool. See that? She totally lost her snarkiness. She was losing her cool with this guy. She really was. You know, because, you know, President Trump's changed the game. When you're a black female Democrat, you're like James Bond. You have, in the past, you've had immunity to do whatever you want, and no one would ever hold you accountable. Like that Democrat congresswoman here with all those funds that she got busted with recently, right? So, this group of Democrats do all of these things because they had good reason to believe this. They would never be held accountable. Well, now they are. Now, here's a great Christmas gift, guys. The Sloman's Home Security offer. This is a great Christmas gift. Listen to this. Sloman's Home Security is offering a free home security system with free professional installation and 24/7 central station monitoring for just $24.95 a month for 5 years. Wow, pretty good deal, huh? All you have to do is call 833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. That's right, just $24.95 a month for 5 years. The Sloman's free home security system and professional installation is absolutely free and includes a touchscreen keypad, 3 door or window sensors, a motion detector, notifications, and remote keypad access. This is great. And it makes a great gift for yourself and your family in your own home. It also makes a great gift for your grandparents, your adult children living out on their own. It's just great. Give them a call, no matter where you're located, 833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. That's 833-283-5050. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. I'm Brian Craig. We'll be right back. All right, we will be back in less than a minute. Oh, man, there's big stuff happening. I mean, this is like one of the greatest times, no doubt about it. Okay, I'm losing track here. All right, stand by. All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. You know, something big is going on with Kash Patel, Bongino, and Pam Bondi. And Miranda Devine, have you guys followed this at all with Miranda Devine? Miranda Devine, who she has she's a writer with the New York Post. She's pretty well known. Most people know who she is that follow news and politics. She's a writer with the New York Post. She has a podcast, which is a very good podcast called Pod Force One, a take on Air Force One. And she's been interviewing everyone from the Trump administration. She's the author of that incredible book about Hunter, Laptop from Hell. She had a story a couple of days ago ripping Bongino and Kash Patel, mostly Kash, but Bongino too. And it was a really nasty column. And what Miranda Devine was, she was calling them incompetent and all of this. And then she went on to say that both of them were setting up their resumes for when they leave the administration, for their next jobs. It was very nasty. And most of us that are MAGA have been very impatient with the Justice Department. No getting around that, okay? There is. They've been doing a good job enforcing regular crimes. We're waiting for the lawfare. I get it. But there was immediate blowback against Miranda Devine. Pretty hardcore stuff. And what Bongino came out first, so did Kash. Kash even went and did an interview with, gave a statement to Megyn Kelly going after Miranda Devine. Bongino came up with a nickname for her, Deep State Divine, which is very good and could very well stick, Deep State Divine. And then what came out yesterday is there's this organization of former FBI people, both agents and other support staff, who are coming out with some hack report from this retired FBI organization condemning the work of Kash and Bongino. And there's been major MAGA backlash from the Trump administration against Miranda Devine, which I'm really shocked. You know, her whole writing at the New York Post and her podcast are based around the unprecedented access she has to the Trump administration. So I don't know if she's still going to have that. I'll tell you another thing, too. I've noticed in the last week, there's been several major press conferences at the White House, right? From the Saudi prince to the one yesterday with the Dells and the cabinet meeting. You know who's been missing? Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend, Brian Glenn. I don't think he's on vacation, but and I don't know if he's still in the White House press corps or not, or if Trump's just not calling on him. Is he being frozen out? Because in these press conferences before the Marjorie Taylor Greene betrayal, he was the first reporter called on by the president, and he was leading these press events quite often. So I don't know if he's on the way out. I don't know what's going on with Miranda Devine, but there's two things you put together, and there's something cooking here, okay? I don't know a single MAGA person that's not been frustrated with the Justice Department. Everyone in the Trump administration has been doing everything above and beyond expectations, except the Justice Department, right? Because we want these lawfare people brought to justice, right? But this blowback from the Trump White House against Miranda Devine tells me that something's cooking. And then we get this, now, I guess it was a week ago. Was it last week or the week before? I've lost track. But this Clinton judge, I think it was last week, this Clinton judge tossed out the indictments against Comey and Letitia James. This is CNN. Okay, so we're going to get two more indictments from another grand jury against both Comey and Letitia. And the Justice Department, without Halligan, is moving on to this. You put that together with what's going on with the Somalian stolen $1 billion, right? Also, the Sedition Six. I know everyone's calling them Sedacious Six. I like Sedition Six. The Sedition Six, and there's a lot of legal things that are being looked at there. It looks like there's going to be a big move with Bondi and Cash. I don't know what it is, but Trump has circled the wagons around them. So, and I know it's difficult. This is difficult for me, but Trump has circled the wagons around Cash, Bongino, and Pam Bondi after this Miranda Devine article that really ripped them. So that means we need to circle the wagons around them, because Trump knows something about what's going on that all of us are not privy to. What that is, hopefully we'll find out soon. But the Comey and Letitia indictments, those are exciting to me. All right, getting indicted again. All right, so that's all good news. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. Our number is 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. If you're in pain, you don't have to be. Go see Dr. Appleton. You know, his laser wave pain treatment doesn't just rid you of pain in some short fix. It actually repairs the damage in you that's causing the pain. That's why the 7 times that Dr. Appleton has rid me of pain, the pains have not returned, because he repaired the damage that was causing the pain. I didn't think ridding me of arthritis pain was possible. I thought that was beyond medical science, but it's not. My arthritis pain that Dr. Appleton treated me for after 2 treatments, gone, and it has not returned. And that was one of the worst pains I've ever experienced. It's hard to describe the pain of arthritis. You don't want to know unless you have it. But those of you that have arthritis, you know what I'm talking about. His laser wave pain treatment works on every type of pain I've ever heard of. I'm learning new pains all the time. I've met so many listeners who got their lives back like I've done and are living pain-free thanks to Dr. Appleton. Give him a call. Remember, appointments are not necessary. I've got a sneeze coming on. Hold on. Oh, thank you for the bless yous. Here comes another one. Oh, boy. Hey, it happens. It's real life. We're live. Appointments are not necessary, and walk-ins are welcome even on Saturdays. The consultation with Dr. Appleton is free, so take advantage of that no-charge consultation and let Dr. Appleton explain to you how he can do to you what he did with me 7 times, rid you of pain. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonChiro.com. Give Dr. Appleton a call and say bye-bye to your pain. We'll be right back. Alrighty. No, it's 87% approval, D, President Trump's approval. All right, we're back. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. You know, this election in Tennessee, that not only did we win it by a massive amount, right? At the latest count, almost 9% victory by the Republican. And remember, yesterday afternoon, I was looking for the exit polls, and there were no exit polls. So I thought, oh, wow, that's interesting. This is the only election going on. Everybody's looking at it. There's no exit polls. Yeah. So, and I knew I probably wouldn't be able to stay up because, they're an hour behind us in Tennessee on the East Coast and everything. I go to bed early. So I looked at the recent polls. Every single poll, every one out of Tennessee had it at dead heat. There were a couple of polls that had Van Epps up a little bit, but well within the margin of error. So just like with the Trump's election, every poll was predicting this neck and neck. And then we came out over 8 points ahead. Remember, a landslide, 1.5 points is a landslide victory in an election. It really, I know it's hard, because the country is always, pretty much 50-50 divided. So by the time they're done counting, who knows? Maybe it'll be a full 9, maybe it'll be 10 points. I don't know. But it was a massive victory for Van Epps in Tennessee. So the media are probably going to want this to fade away and go away and not be talked about too much because they don't want this great Trump MAGA Republican victory to be the focus. But before last night, they were calling this a barometer for the midterms and every comparison you could make. And now that the Democrats have lost it, it's going to fade away. And by the way, this seat's going to be up again in November. It's a special election. This is very important. We won because of the turnout. And the voters in that district in Tennessee did not let the media, with their lying polls, convince them that it was neck and neck or hopeless or that the Democrat could win. And I know a lot of you were saying, well, all those crazy things she was saying, you know about them because you're conservative. If you're a Democrat in Tennessee, the things she said, you may not even know that she said them, about hating country music and all that, because liberal media wasn't promoting it. So those videos, I don't think that interview she did where she said she hated everything about Nashville and all that was much of a factor. I think it's Trump's success in this second term. This is CNN. They got Jennings on there, and they're talking about what happened. Oh my goodness. Yeah, see, this thing that they're trying to, this new spin, well, she was a private citizen then. I don't see them applying that to President Trump when it comes to the Access Hollywood tape. Well, he was a private citizen and a reality TV star at the time, so it had nothing to do with it. See, the reason she was talking so radical, she was even supporting Antifa that was burning down police stations, because the Democrat Party has practically evaporated out of existence, right? And the only thing they have left in the Democrat Party are these radical lunatics. And the things that, it's amazing what the left are trying to manifest them to. MSNBC, they rebranded to this MS Now. And they've changed the name. And they don't have NBC News around anymore, but they got the same players, and they're saying the same thing. They have, this is amazing what they're doing here. They have convinced themselves, Democrats, they're into manifesting, right? If they say things enough, it'll become reality. And they've created in their mind that the second shot at this drug cartel boat is a war crime. They're talking about putting Hegseth and the admiral on trial for war crime. Well, what about the pilot that fired the 2 rockets? He's the one that actually did it. So if you're going to go after the admiral, you're going to have to go after the pilot. Who were they? Or was it it was a fighter jet, wasn't it? It wasn't a drone. It was a jet off the carrier. And this is carrying around the oracle of liberalism, Rachel Maddow. She's on MS Now, talking about this. You know, this really blows my mind because, you know, obviously Rachel Maddow here is a puppet of the deep state. She was the one who spent those 2 years or more promoting the Russiagate, right? So, you know, I was telling you guys yesterday, this is an amazing thing because, you know, back in the 90s, liberals, Democrats would tell us over and over again that the drugs in the inner cities in this country, it was the CIA. They're responsible for crack and all that stuff. And we'd laugh at them. That's crazy. Now we have the deep state defending with everything they've got the drug cartels not getting knocked out. They've got to be behind it and getting paid to do it. And here you got Rachel Maddow who's saying, well, why are we going to war with Venezuela? They're not making a case. What? That's where all the drugs are coming from. That's where the cocaine factories are. That's where the fentanyl's coming from. And by the way, these gang members that are raping and murdering and pillaging in this country, they're from Venezuela too. The case has been made, Rachel. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's exactly right. And you know, I got a call on my podcast yesterday afternoon from a healthcare worker in California, and they do regular drug tests. And she's told me that in recent weeks, positive results for fentanyl are those results are not only down, they're way down because fentanyl is in such short supply in the country. Oh my goodness, Rachel Maddow. All right, let's. The number to call is 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Sean, Brian. My stomach hurts. I haven't taken a shit.
Oh, that's nice. I appreciate it. That can happen sometimes. All right, let's get back to Rachel. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Now, so she has seen the intelligence briefs because they're going to other countries in the area and then bring them here. This woman's out of her mind. Interdict them. See, what she doesn't understand is and everyone knows, the president of Honduras has been released because he knows the inner workings of the cartels. He knows where the targets are. They're using him to follow the money, find the leaders, and also probably pinpoint locations to drop in either special forces or more attacks. And taking out the boats, They're taking out the drugs at the source. And she, Rachel Maddow is not a stupid person. She's just a compromised person. Here we go. Oh, here's the fake crying. Republicans are going to ask for Pete Hegseth to resign. She's, what she is, Rachel Maddow, who's on like one day a week, she's their chief propagandist. They get her on to say whatever the deep state want her to say, whatever the DNC want her to say, and then the rest of the liberals repeat it, and it becomes their reality. They're living in a fantasy land. We have never had a military operation like this in any of our lifetimes that was so important to protect people in this country. The lady I was telling you about that called me, a healthcare worker, that the drug test at her office for fentanyl are down. Rachel Maddow, in these liberal circles, they may not be in the fentanyl. Cocaine is also on short supply in this country. I haven't seen one news story to give us the inflation rate of fentanyl and cocaine in this country since this operation began. Wouldn't you like to know? All right, we're going to take our break. Oh, coastal weight loss secret. Here we are, approaching a week since Thanksgiving. You got any Christmas parties coming up? I got my first one coming up. You got your Christmas parties, your holiday parties, your New Year's parties, your family get-togethers, your family reunions during the holidays, whatever it may be, the Jewish holidays. You want to look great. You want to look thin. You have time to lose weight before all of these events. Remember, I lost 25 pounds in the first 3 weeks with Coastal Weight Loss Secret. They can help you no matter where you're located in the United States. Give them a call and schedule your no-charge consultation. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightloss.secret.com. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. You know, see, this tactic they're running, and this next I will share from CNN about this so-called war crime with the cartels. In the old days, before Trump, before the new media, this would get not only a dialogue going that was, this is a joke. I mean, you listen to them talk and it's like watching cartoons. But before Trump came down the escalator, this war crime talk would have been considered real, and there would be congressional hearings already, even though it's a holiday period over it. And, you know, this is the importance, like this special election we won in Tennessee, this is the importance of the midterms next year. You know, if we lose the midterms, and we can if we don't have a big turnout, if we lose the midterm elections, all these stupid things they're talking about, the war crimes for the I mean, Rachel Maddow, she's talking about trying the service personnel for crimes, right? By the way, if it's murder, there's no statute of limitations on murder. And so far as war crimes, how many times have you seen them pull a 90-something-year-old Nazi out of some neighborhood in Ohio or something and send them off to be tried in Israel? So I didn't know there was a statute of limitations on murder and crimes against humanity here, which is what they're accusing them of. But if the Democrats take back even one house, this entire country will be at a standstill. They'll make sure of it because they'll have endless hearings about garbage like this. These people are so compromised. I mean, you know, you're looking at a party who is actively defending the worst drug people in the world, the cartels. Listen to this. This is yesterday on CNN, right? This is that Senator King jerk. Listen to this. And Caitlin Collins, of course. See, I've never seen anything like this before. We had this is beyond the seditious six. Here we got another senator. They're all coming out undermining the chain of command. See, you know, if there were crimes being committed, that's what the impeachment process is about, right? They could impeach a cabinet member. They could impeach a president. And if they were in power in the majority in the House, that'd be happening right now. See? You know, the last time this happened, you know what they're modeling this after? They're modeling this after Iran-Contra. And I can't remember the name of the Democrat jerk who was the senator from Hawaii that was the chairman of that committee that questioned Oliver North and some of the others. And he started using this unlawful order thing. And one of the big impassioned speeches from Oliver North was about this. And they were talking about the Nuremberg defense and following orders. You know, it's what Rush always says, the Democrats, they got an old playbook. This is a play we haven't seen in a long time. But it's a play that they are making. Look at this. They got the war crimes manual. Okay. You know, this is completely insane. First of all, how do you, exactly, a new hoax. How do you know that the pilot could see these two? I haven't seen any video or photos of these two cartel guys holding on to some piece of rubble from the boat. Have you seen that? No. Not one. Even though they keep saying it. And they're actually, and this guy here is reading out of the manual live on CNN, and you see her eating it up. You know, they've taken this to another level, because what's happened is they've taken it beyond Trump, they've taken it beyond Hegseth, and now they're actually taking it to the officers in command out there in the field. They're making sedition and this attempt to get a military uprising going on. They're making it what they talk about more than anything in cable news. If you watch CNN or MSNBC, this is all that they talk about. And what they're trying to do is just get one pilot to refuse to fire his rocket. That's what they're trying to do. And what's going to happen then? Holy smokes. Well, they're going to have to arrest the guy, and they're going to have to charge him. And then you're going to get some high-priced lawyer who's going to defend him in the military court. They're trying to cause a military trial. They're trying to get just one, either a pilot or the admiral. The admiral's already in, so he's not going to do it. But they're trying to get at least a pilot to disobey an order to strike one of these drug boats. And that's going to trigger all kinds of events. And, you know, I don't know if they've done it, but there needs to be a media blackout on all military installations from the mainstream cable news. CNN, MSNBC needs to be shut down. These people in the military do not need to be seeing this stuff. I mean, what are they to do? You know, what would you be thinking? You're in the military, you got CNN on, and they're telling you that if you follow the orders of your admiral, that for this mission you're going on in a few minutes, that you're going to be tried for murder and war crimes, that you're violating the Geneva Convention, and you're just a guy who's spent his whole life becoming a pilot, you got a family, what happens? They're causing all kinds of problems. But that's what they're trying to do. They don't have an incident, so they're trying to create an incident. And if they get one person to refuse the order to fire, either from the admiral or from the defense secretary or the president, that's going to trigger a whole series of events that would blow up. Because if someone refuses the order, as soon as they land, they're going to be arrested. Yes, you know what this is? You know what they're doing? What they're doing is what the Japanese and the Germans did in the Second World War, right? Tokyo Rose, I forget, Axis South, Tokyo Rose. You know, they had these Americans that were either Japanese or German, and they were broadcasting on the CNN and MSNBC of the day, and that was on the radio, all kinds of misinformation to undermine troop morale. And you know what happened to Tokyo Rose? After the war, she was arrested and she spent 10 years in the federal penitentiary. I don't know if they got Axis Sally, but they got Tokyo Rose. 10 years for what she was doing. And that's what they're doing. All right, we're coming up on the top of the hour. If you're on hold, hang in there. If you'd like to call in, please do. The number, your thoughts on this, I very much like to hear. I mean, is what Rachel Maddow and Caitlin Collins, is there any difference between them and Tokyo Rose? 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. Who's committing the war crimes? Right? Our Navy or Caitlin Collins? And Rachel Maddow and the rest of the crew. 888-465-2631. I want to talk about Friendly Tire in Margate. You know, at Friendly Tire in Margate, new tires are a great Christmas gift. I don't know anyone who would not appreciate a new set of tires. So, you know, your kids, your mom, your dad, you get them a new set of tires, they'll be very happy, believe me. You know, at Friendly Tire in Margate, you can get new tires out the door and on the road for as low as $75 a tire. Remember, Friendly Tire doesn't charge you to mount the tire, balance your tire, or dispose of your old tires. That's $75, right? As low as $75 on new tires. That's on common tires that fit some of the most common vehicles on the road. Used tires, as low as $35 a tire. And that's the same as well out the door and on the road. New tires as low as $75 a tire. Used tires, these are good used tires too, as low as $35 a tire. Give Friendly Mike a call. He'll give you a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. That's 954-977-9445 for Friendly Tire in Margate. Callers on hold, you stand by. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. On the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. My name is Brian Craig. We'll take our break for the top of the hour, be back with your calls and much more right after this. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a couple minutes, guys. I was organizing some things here for the next hour. Oh, man. Where is that? Okay. But it's a pretty good question. Which is worse? Who's committing the war crimes, right? Who is committing the war crimes? And it would look to me like it's CNN and MSNBC. They want to go back and look at all these old statutes and everything else. Let's go back and look at Tokyo Rose. Because what they're doing that's Tokyo Rose-like is they're directing their message directly to the fighting men and women in the field that are involved in major combat right now. There's a combat operation going on right now against Venezuela and the cartels, and they know that they and their families have access to CNN, right? That's probably the cable news network that's on all the ships. They know exactly what they're doing. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. I'm going to go to the phones when we get back. We'll be back in just over a minute. Oh, man. There's no question what they're doing. No question at all. See, what got Tokyo Rose in trouble was, well, she was working for the enemy, which they're doing, But she was being held prisoner. These are free people, so it's worse. But Tokyo Rose was giving misinformation directly to our fighting men. We didn't have fighting women then, right? All right. 35 seconds. If you're on hold, stand by. We're going to go to the phones when we get back. If you want to call in, the number is toll free and it's pinned in the live chat. All right, we're back. The 8 o'clock hour has begun. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? I can't understand a word you're saying. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. It's Job for 9 out of California.
Hey, what's up?
Nothing much. I don't understand what the big deal is. I don't know exactly what happened. And
well, hold on while I answer these other phones that are coming in. Hold on. Yeah, go ahead.
It doesn't sound like they know what's actually going on either. First, it was reported that there was a double tap, and now he's saying that special forces went in and shot these people. That doesn't sound like the same.
Well, that's a new one, because I don't know how the special forces went in on the ocean. You know, that was the first time I heard that.
Exactly. So I don't know where he's getting his information from, and I don't understand why any of these people, and I mean absolutely any of these people, I would believe anything that comes out of their mouth. Where were they when Biden, who obviously was not, cognitively there, where were they reporting that?
Well, this thing about, when I was talking about Tokyo Rose, okay? Tokyo Rose, who did 10 years in the federal penitentiary for broadcasting what she did during the Second World War. What got her in trouble was two things. One, she was an American citizen, okay? And she was broadcasting misinformation directly to our fighting men. We didn't have fighting women then, right? She was broadcasting false information to our fighting men to try to get them not to do things or do certain things in combat. Isn't that what CNN and MSNBC are doing right now? Aren't they doing the same thing as Tokyo Rose did in the Second World War?
They've been doing that and then some for a while now. And
not like this.
Well, no, you might be right. But see, the thing about it is that remember when it was reported that reporters were being kicked out of the Pentagon?
Yes.
Because they were in areas that they weren't supposed to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? I think that was around the same time that this whole thing was actually going on. And
well, that's one of the reasons that they want Hegseth out, because
Well, exactly. I don't believe anything that any of them say, because their stories are not. They conflict. They don't actually make any sense. And third of all, they have been attempting to end up finding absolutely anything to go after Pete or Trump. I mean, they've been trying nonstop, and it's evident that they don't have anything. The fundamental things, you see these steps that they have to go through. You've got 6 individuals who did actually swear an oath of allegiance to the United States, whether they be in the military or whether they be in the intelligence realm. There's still an oath that has to be
Well, what they've done, if you notice, everything they're talking about now, they're not talking about Trump and they're not talking about Pete. They're actually excusing Pete. They're blaming the admiral, and they've gone a step further, blaming those under his command following his orders. So what they're doing now is 100% textbook treason in time of war.
I think there's a reason why this term color revolution has been mentioned frequently, and I think it's been going on for decades, and I think you're seeing the last their last efforts in regards to having that actually
Absolutely.
come to fruition. But like I said, I don't trust anything that they say.
No way.
Because you look at their history.
No way.
Do you know that kind of backtrack, I know that you've been mentioning it. This Minnesota thing, this has been going on for months upon months upon months. We're talking about over 6 months.
Yeah.
And nobody reported on it at all.
Yeah. Well, now it's coming to a head because now they're getting to the point where they're going to be arrests and indictments. So now
you can't hide over $1 billion, and then you have employees who
they've been doing a pretty good job of doing it. Tim Waltz looks pretty nervous. Hey, listen, appreciate the call. Thanks so much. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, Alex from West Palm Beach. How are you?
All right, Alex.
Hey, listen, I've been trying to get this out, and I'm going to let you know something that I'm sick and tired of the left pushing every week a different agenda against the conservative party. Abbey Gate occurred during the Biden administration. 13 Marines were killed.
That's right.
I have firsthand knowledge from an officer that the colonel was told to stand down and not fire any munitions from their drone to protect those 13 soldiers. And the reason I'm telling you this is I want an investigation. All they got to do is go down to Springfield, Ohio, find the drone colonel that was on duty at that time, and find out who the hell gave that order, either from the Pentagon or the White House.
It's a good thing. It's interesting you bring that up because in the Pentagon briefing yesterday, the spokesperson, they said that investigation is underway and they're going to have a full report, I think they said by June, to Pete Hegseth. So that investigation you're talking about, they're deep into it. And they've been doing interviews.
I sent a message to Pete 2 months ago, and he said to go through his former channels. I've tried to get this out for a while because as a veteran, I can't imagine our country not protecting our soldiers.
Contact the Pentagon spokesperson. You look her up. She did the press conference yesterday. She's Steve Cortez's daughter. And she'll be easier to get a hold of than Pete Hegseth, and she'll pass it on. Look up yesterday's Pentagon press conference. You'll get her name. And
I want to put these liberals on their heels.
Yeah, well,
I'm sick and tired every week being attacked with stupid shit.
Okay, all right. Yes, I know. People are getting passionate. Oh my goodness! If you're on hold, stand by. Oh man, I was just about to let him go, and I kept him on just a second too long. You know, I got a call in the first hour of the show from a guy who went and had the heart scan done at Life Imaging FLA, and guess what? They found something, and he went to his doctor with the report, and now he is on a medication now. Isn't that something? It's the holiday season. It's Christmas season, the holiday season. You know, this is a time of family. It's a time of celebration. But you know, as crazy as it is, December is the deadliest time of year for heart attacks. In fact, according to the American Heart Association, more people die from heart attacks during the last week of December than at any other time of the year, with Christmas Day and New Year's Day being the most dangerous, stress-wise, I guess, that time of year causes these heart attacks. Food, stress, alcohol, the weather, all contribute to this spike. That's why Life Imaging FLA is offering free heart scans with a few minimum requirements, valued at $699. When you're there, make sure you ask about the full-body cancer screening. I had that too, for the ultimate peace of mind. Life Imaging FLA, they're all about proactive health care. They save lives before symptoms even appear. This December, give yourself the gift of health. Schedule your scan today. Enjoy the holidays with confidence. Or like the listener that called up earlier in the show, who had a heart issue, find out about it now. Go to your doctor and have it treated like he's doing with medication. Give them a call. Now remember, Life Imaging FLA, they have locations in Palm Beach County, Broward County, and Dade County. Pick up your phone and call pound 250 and say free heart scan. You'll be connected in seconds. That's pound 250 and say free heart scan. Pound 250 and say free heart scan. You'll be connected in seconds. All right, we'll take our break and be right back. Oh, boy. All right, guys, if you're on hold, stand by. We're going to go to the calls in a few minutes. We'll be right back. On the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hey, Brian. Hank from Hollywood. How you doing? All right, Hank. What's on your mind? I called Tom Laporta at Tom Laporta Roofing. He sent out Scott. Now, Scott is absolutely the best. Scott's crew are the absolute best. They gave me a great price. They did a job when they said they were going to do it. They did a job when they said they were going to do it. The materials they use, absolutely. I want to thank Tom. I definitely want to thank Scott. And definitely want to thank Scott's crew. These people are the number one. And I just want your listeners to know, if you need a new roof, call Tom at Tom Laporta Roofing. You're not going to go wrong. You're not going to be disappointed. Do what Hank did. Call Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing on his cell phone. 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. And online, LaportaRoofing.com. This is Colin. I'm in real estate business in Fort Lauderdale, Florida with Kai's Real Estate. I've been in business for 6 decades. People often ask me, real estate. To tell you the truth, it's always the right time. You just need to have the right advisor. You can call me anytime because I answer my phone on the first ring. My number is 954-801-7.
Hello.
Hey, Barry, it's Brian.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, I'm going to put you on hold. We have less than a minute. I'll be right back to you.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm happy to answer any question that you have. My cell phone number is 954-801-7320. All right, and it's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Good morning, Brian. How are you this morning?
I'm great. What do you have for us today?
Well, today I'm going to talk about what we talked about yesterday, but just a little bit different. Yesterday we talked about the Medicaid planning, and for those of you who may be dealing with a need for care yourself or for someone you love, we talked about making sure that you are aware that Medicaid can help offset a significant amount of the cost of the long-term care, so you don't have to spend down your assets and potentially go broke. But what I wanted to talk about today is the same thing, except for those of you who just want to make sure that you are in good shape to qualify in the future, there are some things that we can do now, at least look at it, so we can do a free long-term care audit and review your situation to find out what it is that you may need to do in order to get eligible in the future. It might just be something as simple as the right power of attorney or how your real estate is titled, or there's several different things that could be possibilities, or we might end up telling you, hey, you're all set, there's nothing you need to do now, just call us when, God forbid, the time comes when you're ready, and we'll be able to help you then. So, but at least you'll have the peace of mind to know that you're prepared.
That's absolutely correct. And the worst thing is to not be prepared. And since the Siegel Law Group, you offer free in-office consultations and free reviews and all of that, there's no reason not to be prepared. Give the Siegel Law Group a call, 855-FLA-3782, 855-FLA-3782, and online at SiegelLawGroup.com. That's SiegelLawGroup.com, spelled S-I-E-G-E-L. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel, we'll talk later in the week.
All right, thanks, Brian.
All right, take care. All right, back to our phones we go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Prince Vangelis Konstantinos Kyriakos. Just call me Ange.
Okay.
For short, okay?
Yeah, whatever.
I am a big MAGA fan, and I voted for President Trump 3 times, and I am originally from Miami, Florida. I'm from back home in Canada, but I was transplanted to Miami with my parents when they were alive.
Okay.
And I went to school, University of Miami, graduated 10th.
Okay.
Now, I want to find out what's going on with Zoran, because I got family in New York, and I've got children, and I have a grandson, and I'm worried about my kids. They visit New York every now and then.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're safe. I gotta know.
No, they're not. They're not. Get out. You know, Zohan, are they Jews?
No, they're Greeks like me.
Okay.
They have a very
well,
nasty
they're
temper.
safer if they're safer than if they're Jews. But the problem is Zohan Mamdani is talked about legalizing a lot of crimes. So there's an expected crime wave coming. So
Why?
no, get out.
He's not waiting. Tell them to get the hell out.
Yeah.
Well, they were raised in England. My family was born in Miami, but they were raised in England by the royal family itself.
Yeah.
Because I have a very big history between me and the royal family.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you have heard of this. 1990, Queen Elizabeth visited Miami. Have you heard of it?
I don't remember that happening. I was here then, but I don't remember it. But, I take your word.
You could Google it. You'll see me in there with her.
Really? Wow.
You'll see me in there with her, yeah.
With
anyways,
Queen Elizabeth? Like where? If I look it up, where'd you meet her at?
That was my aunt. She was all over Miami.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, she visited just before my father died.
Wow.
Anyways, like I said, I'm a very big MAGA fan, and I am a big Trump fan.
Well, that's
and
good.
I will vote for him again till the day I die.
Yeah, me too. Well, get your family out of New York, all right, before Mamdani becomes
Well, don't
mayor.
worry, they have bodyguards. I have bodyguards where I'm from, Canada. I have security here 24/7.
Well, that's good.
They were ordered by King Charles to protect me and my family.
Okay, all right. Appreciate the call. Oh, my goodness. You're on the air. What's your name? It's the holidays, guys. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Greg.
Yeah, speak up. I can hardly hear you.
Hey, good morning, Brian. It's Greg.
Oh, hey, Greg.
Yes. Listen, you know what? Two items I like to talk about. The second one, you'll probably hang up on me.
Hold on a second. Let me answer these other lines that are coming in. All right, you said the second one I'll probably hang up on you.
Right.
What's the other one?
But let's go through the first one. I'm all for this $2,000 quote-unquote dividend, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, now I know you're not strong point on details, but...
No one is. We don't know all the details.
When is that? Well, why would you announce something when you don't know the details?
President Trump said yesterday. He's talked about it many times. Yesterday and over the weekend, he both said sometime over the summer.
Sometime over the summer. And how old do you have to be to get this?
Well, we haven't gotten into that. We don't know.
Right. So there haven't been details. Like, are my 17-year-old son going to be able to get this?
I would hope it would be taxpayers. Like when Bush gave a rebate, it was like $300 or $600, something like that. It was for taxpayers. So if you're a kid, if you're a teenager, and you're working and you're earning enough to file income taxes, I guess maybe you'd get it. I don't know.
I know. See, that's the problem. We don't know details.
We will know the details before the money comes. But you and I hopefully will be getting it. I don't know what the income cutoff's going to be or anything.
I know. That's the interesting part, is that there's no details, and you know what? It keeps you wondering. Listen, I hope everyone gets the $2,000.
Well, I don't want everyone to get it. I hope every taxpayer gets it.
No, I said if you pay taxes and earn an income, I think that'd be a great criteria.
An American citizen. I don't want everybody to get it.
All right. And even like the Somalians up in Minnesota, they're going to get it, right?
I don't know about that.
Okay, all right. So, right. We're like, it's like I've heard more I don't knows than you than I know.
Well, they haven't announced the plan.
No, but they announced
I could make things up. I could make things up. I mean, but President Trump hasn't announced what the plan will be. He will. And it'll be a big deal.
That's the issue I've always had.
No,
with Donald Trump.
he'll come out when it.
Wait, can I finish? Can I finish?
No, I'm going to finish my
anything.
thought. No, I'm going to finish. He'll come out and have a press conference like he did yesterday with the Trump accounts with Scott Bassett, and they'll announce who's getting it, who's not getting it, and how it's going to work. You know this. Come on, don't play stupid.
All right. Well, hopefully, listen. I'm agreeable with if it turns out that taxpayers are going to get $2,000, I would love it. Now, here's the second topic, and I know you'll get a little antsy. Last week, you were livid about reporters talking about J.D. Vance's marriage and his relationship with Erica Kirk. You were livid. You were outraged, correct?
Well, yeah, talking that way about a widow is disgusting.
No, not even the widow. J.D. Vance's marriage. Were you livid about that there may be trouble with his
No, that's
marriage?
not exact. No, what the story was that I was livid about. Yeah, and it's pretty disgusting. They put out a fake story. You know, when JD was on stage, let me lay it out, okay? When JD Vance was on stage, Erica Kirk gave him that hug and put her hands on the back of his head, which, you know, is a big no-no to do to a married man if you're a woman. But, you know, she's a grieving widow, you know, and she's not thinking clearly. So they started this false narrative that Erica Kirk is pregnant, that she was impregnated after Charlie's assassination, and they were implying that J.D. Vance was the baby daddy. And I was pretty disgusted and livid about that.
But you were upset. Listen. Now you're lying again. That's the
no,
problem.
I'm not.
You lie consistently.
You can go back. You can go back and listen to that show. It's archived online.
Wait. Let me finish, Brian. You don't let me finish. Actually, half a sentence. You were upset when they were talking about J.D. Vance's state of his marriage. How do they know? What are they talking about, the spouse? And guess what? You and your wife are guilty of the same thing. You said Ron DeSantis, his wife would divorce him if he lost his chance to be president. Do you remember saying it? Be honest with your American public.
It's not the same thing. See, Erica Kirk.
It's not.
No, Erica Kirk. I'm going to explain you why. Erica Kirk is not just a grieving widow. Her husband was...
No, I'm not talking about Erica Kirk.
Excuse me, you're not letting me... I'm going to finish my thought. Excuse me.
What you're doing is...
what you're doing...
Right
I am not deflecting.
About
you're bringing up something that's...
JD.
Excuse me, I want to do this without you, Greg. Listen.
Well, because
they were accusing her of being impregnated by J.D. Vance. And that's pretty... That's not what I said about Ron DeSantis.
I think... Well, listen, you think it was appropriate then? We'll even pinpoint it just down to you now. Forget your deflection, Eric. That's what you do. Because you still stand by, you and your wife, because you said it was your wife's idea, the brilliant one, that she would divorce him after not getting the presidency.
Well,
you agree with your statement was appropriate?
Yeah, I think that DeSantis and his wife, when she realizes that he has no political future, will leave him for a better deal if she can find one.
You know what? That is disgusting.
It's not the same thing as saying a widow.
Wait.
They're saying that Erica Kirk got impregnated like 2 weeks after Charlie's assassination. It's not the same thing, Greg.
No, once again, leave Charlie Kirk. Leave Kirk.
Is this what you thought I was going to hang up on you about? Is this the one you thought I would hang up on you about?
No, yeah, wait. Let me finish. You don't let me finish that. What you and your wife said is disgusting. Don't compare apples and oranges. Compare what you said. It was disgusting.
And by the way, since you brought up my wife, which is really low life of you.
Yeah, the one that came up with this theory.
I mean, what kind of man talks to another man like this about his wife? You know, today
you talk about other people's wives all the time.
Not like
this.
About today, excuse me, Greg. Today is my wife and I. It's our 29th wedding anniversary today.
Well, good. Congratulations.
Man, well, I appreciate that. I'll pass it on. My goodness, at least I know that Greg is listening to my podcast, which is ranked 150th in the United States. You know, but people think 150th. Why are you bragging? There's 10 million podcasts. I'm not exaggerating. 10 million podcasts on Apple Podcast and Spotify alone. And I'm 150. Pretty good, huh? All right. Oh, coastal weight loss secret. Oh, I did not gain any weight over Thanksgiving. Proud to report. Didn't gain any weight over Thanksgiving. I'm very excited about this. You know, coastal weight loss secret works. You see these celebrities that are on these things with the shots and the injections. They look sickly, don't they? They look sickly. with Coastal Weight Loss Secret, it's all natural. There's no shots, no pills, no medications. It's all natural. So when you lose the weight, you look great. I remember Steve used to be big into plastic surgery. A lot of you remember those days. We had this listener who came to an appearance. He had a facelift. And I never met the guy before. And you could tell he had a facelift, right? And I remember Steve was telling me, he's like, the worst thing you can say to somebody that's had a facelift is, oh, what a great facelift. A great facelift, you're not supposed to notice. It's supposed to look natural. Well, that's the difference between Coastal Weight Loss Secret and all these people that are on these shots, injections, pills, and all this stuff. I look great. I look natural. These other people, they look physically ill because that's just not how you're supposed to do it. Call Coastal Weight Loss Secret. I lost 25 pounds in the first 3 weeks. You have time to lose weight before your Christmas and your holiday and New Year's party. They can help you no matter where you're located. Schedule your no-charge consultation by calling 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossSecret.com. We'll be right back. All right, we'll be back in about 30 seconds. Do you see any similarity between accusing a widow whose husband was brutally assassinated in 4K on television, being impregnated by the vice president, and these other discussions? I don't see the moral conflict that Greg was talking about. All right. All right, we're back. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. I just don't quite get the moral equivalence that Greg too there was talking about. They're saying that Erica Kirk, whose husband was the most brutal televised assassination of a political person in history, because none have ever been seen in such in 4K like that. That within 2-3 weeks after the assassination, she's been impregnated by the married vice president of the United States. I don't see the moral equivalence that Greg was searching for. But, there's a lot of people out there with Trump derangement syndrome, and there's a handful of people that have a very rare condition known as Brian Craig derangement syndrome. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. It's Mark from New York. How are you?
All right, Mark from New York. What's on your mind?
Hey, I never thought I would agree with you, but I do. I don't think a true gentleman could talk about another man's wife. That's disgusting, isn't it?
That's not what I said. We were talking about a widow who just recently lost her husband, who they're saying was impregnated by the vice president. That is different when you're talking about a grieving widow of Charlie Kirk than just in general political people. No, it's not the same thing. But go on with your whatever you think you're doing.
Well, Friday you said, Brian, you said, gentlemen, don't talk about other men's wives. You didn't say that. It was a direct quote. I wrote it down. And then you said, you don't talk about people's wives. You know who talks about people's wives? Liberals. That's what you said. Those are your words. I wrote it down.
Since you wrote it down and have such great notes, which is really interesting. I've not heard someone tell me that they write down things that I say before. You really do that, or you just made that up?
No, I really wrote it down.
Okay.
I have it right here.
So what context did I say that in? Context is everything. What specifically did I say connected to that?
You were talking about how someone was talking about J.D. Vance's wife. I don't remember the exact.
This was not about
J.D.
J.D. Vance's wife. None of this had to do with J.D. Vance's wife. We're talking about the widow of Charlie Kirk that they were accusing of being impregnated by J.D. Vance after Charlie was assassinated. Why was it saying anything about criticism of J.D.'s wife? What's her name? Usha?
Oh.
I wasn't talking about her at all. No, she's fair.
But
that's different.
You did say that you don't talk about. You say you don't talk about other men's wives. Do you agree with that, though?
No, I was talking about, as an example, I was talking earlier about Rachel Maddow. She's another woman's wife. No, what I said is when you're talking to if you were talking to me or I'm talking to you, it would be inappropriate for me to talk about your wife.
Correct.
Okay, this is not the same thing as this is not the same thing as a public figure who's involved in the world of politics. It's a little different. But when you're talking about a grieving widow like Erica Kirk, which is what the conversation was about, that's a totally different thing. What they accused her of doing, and it became a national story. And there's also a difference in talking about something that they will hear and something they wouldn't hear, right? So they on the national news, they were talking about her being impregnated by J.D. Vance after Charlie's assassination. No, that is so far over the line, I can't even describe. You don't talk about a dead man's wife. You don't talk about a widow that way. No. A grieving widow at that. No.
But you said only liberals talk about other men's wives.
No, it depends on the context.
On Friday you were mad.
No, it depends on the context.
Oh, I'm sorry. This was Wednesday. I didn't listen to Friday.
I would have to hear.
This was Wednesday. I'm so sorry.
I would have to hear the context of the statement that I said because I don't remember the conversation that you're referencing. I don't hang on my every word like you hang on my every word. I don't. I'd have to hear the whole context of what I said. But what I was talking about was Erica Kirk, not J.D. Vance's wife.
Yeah, I tried to call Wednesday. I couldn't get through. It's a very busy day for you on Wednesday. It was you had open phones on Wednesday last week.
Because it was like a Friday. Because it was like a Friday. Yes.
Yeah. I tried to get through.
Well, you got through now.
It was just busy the entire time.
Yeah. Did you really write down what I said, or did you make that up?
No, I really did write it down. I just didn't have. I was busy on
when
Wednesday.
you I'll tell you what. When next time you write it down, write down the day and the time I said it, and I'll pull up the audio and play the clip on the show.
You got it.
Okay, all right. I don't mind being caught. You know, you know how much I talk a day? I do at least 2 shows a day, 7 days a week, sometimes 3, 4, 5. And I talk more than most any other person alive, okay? So it's not beyond the realm of possibility for me to say something that you catch me on. But you tell me when, tell me the time, tell me the day, if you think you got me in a hypocrisy, and I'll pull it up and I'll listen to it and play it. I don't mind doing that. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Listen, I was on the phone with you about a minute ago.
No,
you cut
it's
me off?
1 call per day. I know you're the royal,
bye.
the Greek royal. All right, 1 call per day, Your Highness. Oh my goodness. The rest of you on hold, hang in there. We'll get to some calls. This thing about Charlie Kirk's widow, that's a whole nother deal. Okay, being inappropriate with widows in general is above and beyond the realm of acceptability. Yeah, I mean, look at what Hunter did with his brother's widow. Oh my goodness. I mean, I don't like to talk about it. That makes me physically ill. Widows have a special place, and there's certain groups of people, okay, in our society that, in my opinion, that are put up on a pedestal of those that you don't question. A grieving widow. Keep in mind, it has to be a grieving widow. They don't get a lifetime pass, okay? But a grieving widow and Holocaust survivors. You know, and maybe I can think of another one or two. You know, a grieving parent, you know, people like that, you know, when somebody's dealing with something. There's certain times and certain people that you don't criticize. And a grieving widow, especially in a high-profile situation, with what they were, you know, I remember one of the things they did that was really over the line, the left, when Sarah Palin was running for vice president, and it came out that her high school daughter was pregnant. Now, Sarah Palin, they hid that. When she came out with John McCain, she was covering up her stuff. Remember that? And the media, she was a teenager in high school, and the media went after her high school daughter and her pregnancy. It was a national dialogue. The left were attacking her. Was it Bristol Palin? I can't remember which daughter it was. Was it Bristol? Or is that the other? I can't remember the Palin family too well. And what they did was so inappropriate. Not just because she was a high school girl, a teenager. They went after her so hard, I was afraid that she was going to have a miscarriage. Remember that? I mean, it was pretty bad. That was inappropriate. There's certain things that are inappropriate. Okay? And going after a grieving widow like Erica Kirk at that time, that is one of the things that's inappropriate. Now, in the first hour of the show, I got a call from a gentleman who went and got the heart scan at Life Imaging FLA. And they found something. He didn't tell me exactly what it was, but it had something to do with an irregular heartbeat, something else. He took that result from Life Imaging FLA to his doctor, and his doctor has him on a medication, and everything's fine now. Isn't that amazing? I'm so glad that I could be a part of sharing Life Imaging FLA with that listener so he could find out about his heart issue before it became a big problem. And we're in December, right? It's December 3rd. This is the holiday season. The December holidays, did you know that that's the deadliest time of year for heart attacks? It is. According to the American Heart Association, more people die from heart attacks during the last week of December than at any other time of the year. Christmas Day and New Year's Day being the most dangerous. The stress, the food, the alcohol, the cold weather. It's a tough time. All contribute to this spike. That's why Life Imaging FLA is offering free heart scans with a few minimum requirements valued at $699. When you're over at Life Imaging FLA, ask them about their full body cancer screening so you get that ultimate peace of mind. I had that too. Life Imaging FLA, they're all about proactive healthcare. They're saving lives before symptoms even appear. Schedule your scan today Enjoy the holidays with confidence. Pick up your cell phone and call pound 250 and say free heart scan. You'll be connected in seconds. That's pound 250 and say free heart scan. Pound 250 and say free heart scan. You'll be connected in seconds. They have locations in Broward, Dade, and Palm Beach. Back with the Gold Report after this. All right. I'm waiting for Mike to tell me when we're going to be back from the break. If you're on hold, stand by. Oh, man. Well, you know, the holidays bring out the a different side of people sometimes on the phone, guys. Yeah, if you're on hold, stand by. If you would like to call in, the number is pinned in the live stream, and it is toll-free no matter where you're watching. Okay. Oh, we got just a minute. Okay.
Good morning.
Hey there. We got about a minute. I'll be right back with you. Hold on. Okay. Okay. Less than a minute, actually. Oh, man, I have such a busy day ahead of me. I'll go back to the calls after the Gold Report. Here we go. All right, and it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated in Boca with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. William Youngerman, how the metals looking today?
Metals looking good, Brian. A little bit of a pullback yesterday on some of them, but giving us a little buying opportunity on gold, but going to last very long. Yesterday we saw gold trade in a range of $41.65 on the low, all the way up to $4,237. Closing out the day down $25.20 at $42.0540, $4,205. Silver was up 47 cents yesterday at $58.39 the ounce. Platinum was down $17 at $16.38. And palladium closed up $40 at $1,447. Overnight, we saw gold trade in a range of $4,193 all the way up to $4,230. And right now, we're at $4,223.40. That's up $18, wow. $42.23. Silver up 41 cents at $58.80, very close to that $60 number that we're looking for. Platinum up $12 at $1,650. And palladium down $2 at $14.45. So the markets are doing very well, stable and pushing higher.
How's the pre-33 gold and the 90% silver looking these days?
Still at bargain levels, absolute bargain levels. You can buy 90% silver coins from us for $2 back of the spot price of silver. And you can buy many of the pre-33 gold coins for right at the gold value or just a fraction over that.
That's amazing.
So great values to be had in those areas of coins and precious metals.
Now, people that would like to get their kids involved in the metals, great time, Christmas. What are some of the things you recommend that people can get for their kids and grandkids for Christmas that would introduce them to the metals?
Yeah, a lot of people like to buy the silver eagles and actually get one for their birth year if they were born 1986 or later, and also put together collections of the silver eagles, getting one of every date, and that gives them something to give them whenever there's a birthday or just a little, here's a I love you, thank you gift for something you did, and you give them a silver eagle, and it's like maybe $60 or so, and you've got something that they'll treasure forever, and you just keep adding to their collection, or on other occasions, you can get them maybe a 1/10 ounce gold coin.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if you get something like a 1/10 ounce gold coin, there's things you can put them in to display it and give them to them and keep it safe. William Youngman opens up at 10 a.m. You can stop in at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. You can give them a call, toll free, 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010. And online, WilliamYoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll talk tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day. Thank you.
All right, take care. I think I stumbled on something today that I'm going to cover some more. What they're doing on CNN and MSNBC, this Tokyo Rose style programming, undermining our chain of command, but trying to discourage combat military people to disobey orders from an admiral, from the war secretary, and from the president of the United States. This is without question Tokyo Rose level treason, and I'm going to do a lot of coverage on that as this war heats up against the cartels. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield.
Oh, hey, Brian. What's up?
Hey, Brian. How are you today? First
Hi.
of all, congratulations on the podcast numbers, Brian. That's pretty impressive.
Well, being 150 out of 10 million in the United States without any marketing, without any corporate backing, and just the good word of mouth of our listeners is I was so excited when even my daughter was impressed by that, which says a lot.
Well, I'm sure she was. I was just trying to I was doing the numbers in my head while I was waiting to get on the air, and I think that would equate probably to a top 10 podcast. Because you look at the base 10 million podcasts. I mean, the top 150. You're probably in the top 10.
I have millions that listen every month to my podcast. Millions. And,
wow.
And and when I started, I did have a leg up because I started podcasting. I would meet all my old friends. They wouldn't be on the radio, and they would start a podcast. And and this was like years ago. And nobody knew they were there. So I said, well, why don't I start it while I'm still on the radio, right?
Yes. And, well, having the Steve Kane Morning Show is a great lead into the podcast.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I'm surprised a lot more people don't realize it. It kind of piggybacks one on the other, and it's a continuation throughout the day. But I think you got a top 10 podcast.
Oh,
that's
good.
That's really very, very good.
And I know it's great. It's great. It's on all podcast platforms, guys. And if you follow me on YouTube, you can catch the podcast live in video form, and I take live calls like I do here in the morning.
That's very impressive. I was going to say one thing, but I come from a different generation, but I don't like attacking women who are in the public space. Very reluctant to do that unless they really have it coming. It's just something I wasn't brought up to do.
Let me talk about this a little bit because this is an important point. There are people that are civilians, and then there's combatants. Okay.
Yes.
So, Nancy Pelosi is someone's wife. I mean, come on.
That's true.
But if someone is, like J.D. Vance's wife is not really political. That's why she's off limits. Okay? So and the First Lady isn't political. She's married to the president, but she doesn't do things that are political. So when people are not political, they're out of bounds. Children are out of bounds too. It's a different.
Well, Erica Kirk going through the recent situation that she was in, you got to give her some space and some time. I think give her the benefit of the doubt because I was a big Charlie Kirk fan. I thought he'd be president down the road and maybe a decade or so, but you got to give her the benefit of the doubt and I think lay off a little bit.
Well,
on
what they said about here hold on a second. Here's the thing, Brian. What they said about Erica Kirk is that she got pregnant after Charlie's assassination by J.D. Vance. Okay?
Right.
And that is so far over the line. And,
absolutely.
And I don't know what these guys are talking about that I said last week. I mean, I talk so much, I don't know what I said, in the first hour.
Sure. Sure.
But the context was not what they were implying. You don't talk about grieving widows, okay? Grieving widows have a free pass. In the way people react when they're grieving, parents, spouses, it's unpredictable. It's often irrational, and you don't put judgment on it. And to accuse her, what they're accusing her of doing, while it may not legally be, is really a form of adultery, and that led into a pregnancy. That's a dangerous thing to put on at a national level, a grieving widow. That could cause terrible things to happen.
But, well, the left will do anything. There's no such thing as nothing too low to strike people.
Well, they killed her husband,
really
yes, they
on
did. TV. So,
and we all saw it.
Yeah,
we all saw it live too. So, something like that, you got to give them some time and some space, and you got to be humanitarian too. And I think the cheap shots going out at her, and especially the movement that she was connected with, her husband was connected with, a wonderful movement, and. She deserves to be treated a little bit better, but again,
like we talk about Rosie, we don't talk about her wife.
Yeah, I know. It's that's the left narrative too. Again, some things are okay and some things aren't. But anything that's conservative and to the right, no, that's open game for the left on anything. No holds barred. It's really a shame. So
All right.
Congratulations again, Brian.
All right, appreciate it. Yep. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Lynn from Boynton.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, happy anniversary and happy podcast.
Thank you. Yeah, today is my wife and I. It's our 29th wedding anniversary today. 29.
And that's a big deal in today's world, Brian. Really, got to be very proud of yourself.
When my wife and my wife was a listener, okay, and that's how we met. She came to an appearance to meet me. And so I told Steve about it, and we set up. We were at another radio station then. Steve set up this whole event at a sponsor. It was the Hong Kong Harbor in North Miami, and we had all the personalities from the radio there and all our listeners. And I got up and made the announcement, and we did a whole big deal about it. And the next day on the radio. There were some radio personalities, Al Rantel, Norm Kent, who's passed away, Norm Kent, and they went on the air and said we would be divorced within 2 years because we only knew each other 6 weeks.
Oh.
Right? I mean, what a bunch of lowlives.
Oh my God.
And I remember my wife was so upset because they were talking about our marriage was going to end in divorce before we even got married and all this stuff. Well, here we are 29 years later.
Well, I'll tell you, Brian, they gave us about 15 minutes after the wedding. So we're 37 years now, so keep on trucking.
You know what I tell you know what I tell people? My wife hates when I say this. This will cause probably maybe she's not listening. You know what I tell people the secret to a long-lasting marriage is?
What?
That my wife gets really angry when I say this. I shouldn't even say it. But here's the key to a long-lasting marriage. Men, always admit you're wrong even when you're not.
Yeah, that goes a long way. Absolutely.
With an emphasis on even when you're not.
Keep your fingers crossed behind your back.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I shouldn't have said that.
But also, she's very kind. I've heard her and stuff. She's very kind, and you guys make a very lovely couple.
She's got to put up with me.
Well, you know something, you've heard my husband before on the background, when we're talking and stuff, so it takes patience and it takes time and it just doesn't happen. I know you guys got married quickly after meeting too, so
6 weeks.
Congratulations, and I think it's just great. Mm-hmm. But I also wanted to let you know that we went over and saw William Youngerman yesterday. Went up to Boca, and we had silver and carafes and all these type of things that my mother left me, and I never had kids, and I have a niece, but she doesn't need clutter, or anything, and they don't know. So we went up with everything. And the thing about it, we did pretty good, mainly with our coins and stuff that my father, had us growing up collecting. Mm-hmm. And we did go with that. What a nice guy that guy is. What a nice tight ship he runs, and what a beautiful place when you walk in there.
I mean, the stuff that he has on display is spectacular, isn't it?
It is. It's amazing, So we did good, but he also told us some of the stuff that was not real silver, So anyway, we got back home, and we were very happy meeting him. But we wanted to go when he was there because we hear him every day on the show. So we asked John when was he going to be there, and I said, I want to make sure he's a real person, William Youngerman.
Yes, of course
and John started laughing, and he goes, "Oh yes." I said, "Well, nowadays and stuff." So we had a good chat, and it was very nice.
Well, I'll
and
tell
we
you,
really appreciate you.
Well, thank you so much. The thing is, when you're dealing with the precious metals, it's nice you're dealing with a straight shooter, right? Over there. I mean, it's really amazing.
Oh, absolutely. And the
Yeah.
gadgets that he's got to do all the things and making sure all the containers that we had with coins in them were not unsealed yet and everything. I mean,
Yeah.
very, very, wow, what a thing. I didn't realize all that went into it.
It's
until
amazing.
we saw it yesterday.
Well, listen, we're out of time for the
Okay.
day, but I appreciate the call.
All right. Okay.
Take care. Take care.
All right.
We just have seconds left until the top. The rest of you on hold, stand by. We'll be back tomorrow at 6 a.m. and you'll be first in line. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest running radio show. See you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. All right, we are clear. All right, I have to go because I got to record a commercial with somebody. Actually, I'm gonna record a commercial with a listener who is a client of George Colony. So I'm going to call him up in just a minute and record the commercial. Listen, if you're new, make sure you subscribe, guys, okay? And please like the video. My name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Take care.